You are now tuning into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
This is not a valid menu option.
Orange. Condition orange. Situation Delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is November 9th, 2022, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. 6 years ago today, Donald Trump was called the winner of the 58th presidential election. And of course, that is the topic. Once again, we had the midterms yesterday, and the new trend is polling data doesn't matter. Recall, in 2016, the polling data said that Hillary Clinton would beat Donald Trump in a landslide. Still remember the Fox News broadcast. They said it was going to take a miracle for Trump to win that evening. But of course, the whole script was written for Mr. Wall to be called the president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And of course, in Gematria, Berlin Wall equals 45, as does Mike Pence, as does Holy Bible, going with that Trump-Pence ticket and the biblical pandemic while the Trumpster was in there. But again, polling data used to matter. 2016 on, the polling data has not reflected what happened. The polling data said this year it would be a red wave. It wasn't. And funny enough, the state that was full of the most surprises was President Biden's birth state, Pennsylvania. Again, Joe Biden born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, home of the office. And what happened in Pennsylvania? Well, in one of the most interesting elections in the Senate, you had Mr. Oz, and let's not forget Mr. Oz's primary, and this is one of Trump's candidates, right? Trump comes from the world of Hollywood, so Mr. Oz, how fitting it was that he won the Republican primary and again, that primary was on the anniversary of the publishing date of The Wizard of Oz. But Oz does not end up winning the election. He ends up losing to John Fetterman, the man who had a stroke and now is anything but fit for office. And you got to wonder, who would vote for such a man who can't answer the most simplest of questions, who has lost his ability to seemingly think and speak and comprehend what's before him? Again, you guys, these things are rituals, they are mockeries, and they are symbolic. And they are meant to represent the republic that we call the United States of America. You know, some people call it the Confederacy of Dunces. Some people call it a nation of sheep. But year after year, they have these rituals that are meant to make us look like fools. And sadly, because so many of us are fools, we don't even recognize how we're being laughed at. But the other thing about Pennsylvania, in Gematria, Pennsylvania equals 53. And November 8th is the day leaving 53 days left in the year. So what a ripe date for Pennsylvania to be the big story, how it went against the polling, and it might help the Democrats keep control of the Senate because they picked up a seat that they thought was all but lost. And of course, yesterday before, the results were in, I reminded people about the history of the political parties just in the time I've been alive. Ronald Reagan was the president when I was born. He is still quoted to this day that he wanted to make government so small he could drown it in a bathtub. But instead, he made government bigger than it had ever been before. And he started a massive drug war, and he created a huge homeless population on the streets. And of course, like Trump, who used his Make America Great Again slogan, he came from Hollywood. And also like Trump, he was a career Democrat until he got into politics and joined the Republican Party. Then, of course, you had Bush, the first one, George H.W. Bush, Skull and Bones member, well, just like his son, who was also in the Oval Office. Don't forget Skull and Bones equals 41, like he was number 41. And, of course, Yale equals 43, like his son was 43. But he said no new taxes, and then he made a bunch of new taxes. And then you had Bill Clinton, who sold the American worker down the drain with NAFTA and the outsourcing of American industry, where we are today, where we hardly make any of the stuff that we have in this nation. It pretty much all comes from overseas and countries like China. And after that, you had the second Bush, who said his dad's greatest mistake was going into the Middle East and doing nation building. Well, that ended up being his entire presidential legacy, what he said his dad's greatest mistake was. And some people will blame that on 9/11, but as we know, 9/11 was a planned ritual. Everything went into motion in 1968 that happened on September 11th, 2001, from George Herbert Walker Bush graduating from Skull and Bones to 911 being the national emergency dialing code to World Trade Center construction beginning in New York. And then you had Obama, who got in with the Democrats in the House and Senate, who ran on ending the wars only to escalate the wars and make them much bigger, much more expensive, deploy more troops, deploy more drones, kill even more innocent people who had nothing to do with 9/11. And he even got a second term for that. And then, of course, you had Trump, who so many people think is the Messiah. And in a way, he kind of fit in with the whole Revelation thing, right? He was here, and then we had the biblical plague, 666 days after the simulation. And don't forget who told you. Trumpets, like the trumpets warnings in Revelation and how Holy Bible equals 45. I told you the night they called him president-elect, it would get real biblical in the time of his presidency. Plus, we knew that 2020 deadline was coming 19 years after the last major psychological operations, which come every 19 years. War on germs, war on terror, war on drugs, war on courage, World War II greatest deployment, all 19 years apart. But yeah, rather than being super redundant, let's take your calls tonight. And if you're out there and you still vote, I'd like to hear why you're still voting, because what I would say to you is all you're doing is validating the lie. And I would also say that by voting for these tyrants, you have blood on your hands. You helped that tyrant have some form of legitimacy for taking the office he's in by consenting to voting for them. And, again, you're listening to someone who's never voted, and that's because I was 17 years old in 2000 when Gore became the president. Oh, never mind, it's Bush. Because in the state where his brother's the 43rd governor, there's now some kind of mishap, and actually he has more votes, and he's going to be the 43rd president. And then instead of finishing the recount, then there was the Supreme Court to stop the recount to make sure the American people didn't decide the election, but instead the federal government did. And that was all I needed to see to know that my nation was completely illegitimate. There were several clues along the way, including all my years in slave school, where they kept telling me I was free while I was being required to be in some classroom listening to some moron who didn't know anything about anything and was clearly trying to fill my head with BS. But, my whole thing is, let's end America as we know it. This giant slave ship that runs on lies and propaganda and misinformation and treats us like we're a bunch of dummies. But seemingly, the dummies, they like America. It's got lots of Cheetos and ice cream and entertainment and, fun candidates like Donald Trump. Again, sadly, it seems that, more and more that is the populace and things look grimmer and grimmer. But as someone who can see clearly and who always has, I feel it is my job as an American, hearing all those illusions from all the years I was in slave school about this idea of freedom, to try and stand up for those things. So that's what we do here day after day, week after week, trying to wake up the masses to what's really going on And again, for the person out there who says, well, what are we going to do if we don't vote? Well, what you're going to do is do the same thing that you learned about back in slave school. That revolution that this country supposedly came out of, because we're long overdue for one, you know? D.C. should be in ashes, and it should have been in ashes a long time ago. This federal government should be a thing of ancient history. It shouldn't exist anymore because it's completely corrupt and bankrupt. And again, that is the day that I live to see, the day that people rise up, tear down their fascist federal government, and after that start looking at their state governments. Because right here, I'm out here in Washington State, not to be confused with Washington, D.C., which is, again, Washington, D.C. is on the east coast of America. Washington State's the Pacific Northwest, the top northwest state of the lower 48 states. Of course, Alaska is the most northwest, but people outside of America always confuse Washington State and Washington, D.C., but just out here in Washington State, it's becoming more and more of a joke. Our government's working really hard right now to outlaw things like natural gas. And again, people should look at what's going on. Why are so many governments trying to make everything electric? Why do they want everything electric? You know, you can tell they're going to eventually push us all into electric cars by making gasoline so expensive. But why do they want every last thing electric right now? Natural gas is clean energy. It's affordable. Why do they want us all on one energy form? Do you think it's for the sake of control? Of course it is. They want more and more control over our lives from all these different angles, and people need to wake up to it. And again, if you're still attached to the Democrat or Republican Party, again, both of those parties should be extinct too, because all they've been doing to you is lying to you and selling you out and selling you a false bill of goods. And yeah, their rhetoric might be a lot different. I mean, the Democrats, what do they represent these days? Ukraine and the LGBTQ movement? What about actual Americans? And for the Republicans, I mean, I got to admit, especially at this day and age, they do talk a lot better game, but at the end of the day, are they really doing anything that they're talking about? Not that I can see. You know, we just had the Republican president who ushered in the New World Order agenda on behalf of the World Health Organization and the bankers over in Switzerland. So, you know, you can blame the inflation all you want on Biden, but the reality is it's Donald Trump who signed off on the $6.5 billion, or did I say billion? I mean $1 trillion stimulus, which was a lot of printing of money, and anytime you print money, there's going to be massive inflation, especially when it's record printing, thus the record inflation. But anyhow, with that out of my mouth, let's see what the callers out there have to say. And leading off tonight is a longtime caller who I know is a Trumpaholic. And let's see what he thinks about what's going on. Okay, how you doing tonight, Michigan?
Hi, you caught me by surprise. Sorry.
You're first in line.
I had some. Hold on, I'm not in a good spot to talk. You know, I've got some questions for you, but I'm not at my notes. And can you come back to me later?
I'll come back to you. Indeed, I will. Thanks for always tuning in, friend. We'll be back.
Okay.
Okay. I think he's having dinner. Let's go out to 850. You're on, Florida. 850.
Hey, Zach, how's it going tonight, my friend?
It's going right. How are you?
Yeah, going well. Yeah, the voters, man, they, this is why I always tell them, this is what you get when you vote. You get things like the Civil War, things like the Organic Act, things like false flags from the USS Maine to 9/11 and everything in between, World Wars, IRS, Federal Reserve, the New Deal, and the things that you mentioned, like the drug war and the supposed war on terror and all this other nonsense. And I'm just driving down the street, and you know the median thing on the road where it's just like usually they just have like a bunch of grass or maybe some trees in there, and you got one side of traffic going, the other side of traffic. I'm like, why in the hell doesn't like the local government here just grow food right here or on the side of the road, you know, or these big fields. I have a solar field job, and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, man, they could have these solar panels here and still grow food out here on a 500-acre field. You know, there's no reason why you couldn't have like some potatoes, carrots, whatever. Like, so these politicians are, I don't know even how, I don't understand how in the hell, it must be the McDonald's, they must be eating all the adult Happy Meals, these people, and they just feel so happy with their, you know, stupid plastic toy that they don't even see like the simple shit out of the trillions of dollars going to really stupid shit every fucking day. You can easily build a house for every homeless person and still have...
Well, our government would do that, but they've been too busy paying farmers to destroy their crops and help elevate the food prices as we're all now experiencing. I mean, these are the real policies of our government. They've been paying farmers to destroy their crops. Why?
Yeah. Out here, I've noticed that even out here where I live, they've been burning a lot of their crops in the last couple weeks, and I don't understand why they just still keep going. Like, what are you voting for? Like, you just go, you go there, you get the little pamphlet. Because I walked by the voting place to the gym yesterday, because I have to walk by it to get there, and they just hand you a pamphlet. I'm just reading this thing, and all the candidates here in Florida, you know, DeSantis, they all think he's God. And he equals 53, DeSantis equals 53, so I'm just like, yeah, he's going to win because the 53rd today, leaving 53 days left in the year.
Is this Truth Vibration podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, what's up, man? It just dawned on me. Your voice finally registered in my brain. I'm like, oh, it's Truth Vibration podcast. By the way, the last time I saw you streaming, if I didn't hear incorrectly, did you say your father passed away?
No, he got the jab, or the third one, because he like retired, but then they offered him a position for 6 months that he would have gotten paid for like the year that he got paid before at the same place, Florida Power and Light. And they told him that he had to get the third jab, and he got it, and a week later he got a stroke. And all his blood work came back. It came back okay, but when I looked at it, because I used to be an LPN, I looked at it, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. How the fuck did you get a stroke? I mean, he is a little overweight, but he still eats pretty good. He still walks like 5+ miles a day for months. And it didn't make any sense. Well, obviously it does, because the jab, right? And I don't really want to say too much on your show, because it definitely is going to get flagged, because it's going to be flagged.
Well, of course, for the censorship Nazis, it's clearly a coincidence that he had a stroke right after getting vaccinated. Clearly a coincidence. You'd have to be a conspiracy theorist to think anything else.
But yeah, I got him on foods that are high in nitric oxide, so things like beets, turnips, carrots. They actually increase oxygen in your blood and help with the formation of blood clots. And those might be, except for carrots, might not be the best tasting foods, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. And then I also have them on other foods too that help with antioxidant production. And so far, he does have a slow speech impediment right now, because it hit, like, the stroke hit in the back of his head where like the speech part is in your occipital lobe. And but he's doing, like, physically wise really good. Like, he doesn't have like the droopy face or nothing anymore. That's all gone.
Well, that's good.
Because I have him on.
That's good. You didn't get the...
Yeah, but he's only 55. And what did you say about guys in the Navy? You said this a long time ago, because he retired from the Navy.
Well, you don't want me to say what I said about guys about the Navy when we're talking about your dad. I mean, come on.
Well, I want to make sure that he's good. You know, when that year comes. I think you said something like 63 years old. Navy people go or some shit. I can't remember.
Well, there was a woman who called in one night. There was a woman who called in one night about her father dying suspiciously at age 62, and I just asked if he was in the Navy, because Navy has that gematria at 62, and she said, yeah. So.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, there's a few years left. But yeah, man, that's all I really wanted to say, because to me, you know, the food, there's no reason why everything in the grocery store should have GMO food. You know, if these politicians, if these people should be voting for these politicians, how come they're not saying, guess what? If you're a property owner and you grow a garden, we'll give you tax cuts on your property.
You would think.
Incentive. And then if you sell those, you know what I mean?
That's what we would do if we had sensible government, but that's not what the corporate fascist government wants. They want you buying, you know, all your Fritos and your Cheetos and your Doritos and
yeah, so you can get strokes and heart attacks and rely on big pharma, because obviously they're lobbied in there. And yeah.
Well, on the bright side,
that's all I have to say, man.
I was going to say, on the bright side, I mean, your dad, he'd probably qualify for the Senate in the next run, so.
He doesn't even vote. He thinks it's all bullshit, too, so.
Good for him.
At least he doesn't vote. Yeah, I got him to stop voting after the Trump election. He finally realized it's all bullshit, too, so. I mean, what's the point? I mean, sports, news, politics, all bullshit. Every single second of the fucking day.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is.
Just so you know, we are making, it's not a gematria rap, but it's like a truther rap, and we're gonna make a music video for the intro for my channel.
Cool.
I've been writing on it all day today. And it's gonna be pretty cool. Just for you and everybody to know, something fun for the truthers to listen to.
Very cool. All right, everybody, check out the Truth Vibration Podcast. He'll get you in shape. He'll get your mind right. Truth Vibration Podcast. So.
All right, everyone. Have a good night. You too, Zach.
All right. Thanks, man. Sorry about your dad, though.
Oh, bye.
All right, take care.
No, it's cool, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night. All right. Florida is representing. Let's go out to Florida. I believe it's a young Truth Does Not Exist. What's up, Truth Does Not Exist?
Hey, Zach. What's up? I'm here weathering the storm that's hitting on the day, leaving 52 days left in the year. Oh, hold on. Let me just mute.
Oh, is it supposed to make landfall Thursday?
Yeah, it's hitting today, and today leaves 52 days left in the year.
Well, when you say today, is it? Oh yeah, today does leave 50. Yeah, never mind. Today leaves 52 days. Wow, look at that. And because Hurricane 52, we talked about this so many times. Hurricane in gematria equals 52. Flood, Earth. So late in the season, late hurricane, and making landfall on the day, leaving 52 days. How about that?
Yep, and delaying my trip or whatever. And I want to ask, who the fuck voted for Dr. Oz? Like the joke reality TV star. I remember watching this shit as a kid. I was like 8 years old or whatever, or like 7. I was like, I would watch this and I'd be like, just like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, this is a joke. Like, who watches this stuff? And like, honestly, I don't believe that anybody voted for him. Like, I don't believe that one single person voted for him. And I don't know who would be dumb enough to think that anybody would vote for somebody like that. I mean, he's like an even bigger joke than Trump. He's 100 times a bigger joke than Trump,
The Wizard of Oz joke was pretty good. But look who he was running against, a guy who had a stroke who kind of lost his mind. So.
Yeah, just like Trump and Biden, the old pedophile and the reality TV star.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I'm pretty mad right now. You know what? People who are listening, put down the Cheetos, grab the shotgun, and join us. All these fucking pieces of shit in the government and in society that are, these people all have blood on their hands. They're voting. They think that the government should, let parents abuse their children, whatever. These people all need to fucking go. The government needs to fucking go. The government needs to be drowned in the bathtub, and that's the nice way of saying it. All these fucking people need to go. They're all pieces of shit. You should look up the video where there's a judge that forced some 14-year-old to go back to his abusive house, and he put the dad in jail for kidnapping, even though the kid, he didn't kidnap him. He just wanted to go with his dad. I can leave the link for that video if you want, but it shows what a bullshit system it all is. It's all fucking bullshit. My girlfriend, she's in a really terrible mental state because her shitty parents, they're forcing, she doesn't want to live with them. She's 17 and she hates her fucking, but she can't leave there, even though they're abusing her and they're really shitty, and they make her, she's always around these shitty fucking people, then she goes to school and then the next generation of worthless pieces of shit, they're bullying her and they're mean to her, they're fucking all these scumbags, it's all fucking scumbags, and people think that we need a government, a government that's gonna send kids to be in abusive households, it's a fucking joke. The government needs to go, these fucking pieces of shit need to go, and these people in school, they're gonna be the next generation of pieces of shit, they're all fucking scumbags,
Indeed, we got a commercial break, we'll be right back everybody, sit tight.
Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies, but the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, all the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how can you ever love me? And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. And even my bracelets are telling me to act how Jesus would. So what should I do?
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Travis Cook, America's Evil Genius, here to invite you to join us every Tuesday afternoon here on Truth Frequency Radio. No, on our show you will not see a bunch of 3-piece suits or a cocktail party. And you certainly won't see a bunch of inside the Beltway back. But you will see eye-gouging, crotch-kicking, no-holds-barred political discussion, the likes of which you won't see anywhere else in media. America's Evil Genius. We come to you every Tuesday from the outskirts of war-torn St. Louis, Missouri, where there's always a good race rider sex scandal just around the corner. Join us every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, and noon on the left coast right here on TFRLive.com. America's Evil Genius, Travis Cook, on TruthFrequencyRadio.com.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we are back, True Seeker. We got 2.5 hours of show left, and it is that time where we get to hear the brilliant mind of Rambo. And here he is right here. How you doing tonight, Rambo?
Hey, thanks again.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for always coming back.
Yeah, I want to point out Wikipedia has done it again. Remember last week I talked about probably the most naturally focused upon gubernatorial races. That's in Arizona, where they have Carrie Lake. I talked about her last week. She was a Republican candidate for governor. And I don't think they called it yet. They're saying it's too close to call. But I mean, we're talking about her name, Carrie Lake, and you picked up on the lake name, how it tied into the lake, the Great Lakes, Minnesota, Lakers. And I pointed out that she had the same birthday as Kobe Bryant, talking about Lakers, Lakers formerly from Minneapolis, land of 10,000 lakes, now in Los Angeles. So her birthday was significant, which I brought up. It's August 23rd. Well, Wikipedia changed it after that. Wikipedia changed her birthday to August 30th. This is after, this isn't the last time it happened, but I looked at other places like Google, and they still have it as August 23rd. But Wikipedia changed it. I don't know if they changed it today or yesterday. They changed it to August 30th. I said, that's not the first time that we've discussed that. I've said stuff where you've done decos and Wikipedia changed it. I don't know, it keeps happening. It may not seem that, why would they care what we're saying? Are we that powerful? Or maybe we don't give ourselves enough credit. I mean, how often is it going to happen? And so even now, if you go on the J.J. Watt, on his Wikipedia page, it says that he was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But I did a decode talking about it was the Waukesha Christmas Day parade where this was MK Ultra by the looks of it, but this guy just inexplicably drove an SUV right through a parade, and there's a Milwaukee dancing grannies, so it was kind of horrific. Why would anyone commit such a heinous crime? And it turned out to be the hometown of J.J. Watt. Like he's the biggest star of the Arizona Cardinals. And talk about Arizona. That's where the Super Bowl will be held, in Arizona, in his home stadium with the Cardinals. But right after I have a screenshot now. If you go back to my article on that, I took a screenshot where it said that J.J. Watts, he was born in Waukesha, where that happened. The very next day, the following Thursday, Wikipedia changed his hometown to Milwaukee. That was right after I did that. Then there's also Donald Trump. I'll talk about the hanged man symbolism, and I went through it. The hanged man symbolism of Donald Trump is undeniable. I have evidence on top of evidence. But on top of that, I didn't need more, but Wikipedia really clinched it because they had a picture of Donald Trump in the lobby of Trump Towers with the magician David Blaine hanging upside down next to him. He was doing a promotion for David Blaine. There's no reason for it to be in Trump Tower, but he decided to promote David Blaine's next in the lobby of Trump Tower. Wikipedia had about a quarter of the way down on Donald Trump's Wikipedia page. David Blaine hang upside down. I gave that as kind of the clincher. Look, Donald Trump is symbolized with the hanged man of the tarot. Well, Wikipedia removes the picture. This isn't even changing stats. Now they're even removing pictures. They also changed the year of the year of birth, or the year of death of Ayatollah Khomeini, right after I talked about what happened right after Salman Rushdie got stabbed. But this changed across all media, which is, and Salman Rushdie, the one who he put out the fatwa against, Khomeini put out the fatwa against Salman Rushdie, and that was a long time ago. And as soon as Salman Rushdie got stabbed in New York over the summer, suddenly they changed his, and that was a big part of my decode. So yeah, Wikipedia has done it again. They did it with Carrie Lake, the governor of Arizona. They just did it. Well, last week I talked after their birthday was Kobe Bryant's birthday. Her name is Lakers, Kobe Bryant, the 23rd of August. Well, they changed it to August 30th, and now they completely removed it together. Now they say it's just giving her a year. I think it's 69 or something. They're just giving her birth. So yeah. Just an update on Wikipedia. I don't know. They seem to be responding to these decodes. They seem to be listening.
Indeed. So good us. I like this.
Another person listening is David Icke because I did. What is that?
I was just gonna say I like this illustration you found for your article.
Yeah. Yeah, but another person listening is David Icke because in 2020, right after George Floyd incident, I was the only one who's linking that with the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff Freemason ritual. I was the only one who did. Now, you could find Hiram Abiff articles separate, and of course you got a ton of George, but linking the two is literally, in fact, I knew somebody who was looking it up when I told him, I wanted to look it up to confirm, and he just took him right back to my article. Because that was the only article linking George Floyd and the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff. Even most Freemasons don't even know. Even Master Masons, I met a Master Mason who never heard of Hiram Abiff. So that's something that very few people know about. That's really, really arcane. But I tied in the George Floyd killing as a ritual to that. And that was June 10th, 2020. On June 11th, 2020, David Icke tweeted that the killing of George Floyd was based on a ritual of the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff. That was the next day. I did it on June 10th. He tweeted on June 11th, which happened to my birthday. That's just synchronous. I didn't know. So he was, that can't be a coincidence. And it was done quickly. So it's not like somebody who listens to him maybe put it on his blog or on his website, then somebody close to him saw it and gave it. That would have taken like a day or two, a couple days to get to him. It was right away. So either him or somebody close like his son listens. So David Icke might be listening, and Wikipedia is listening. So, that's who seems to be out there, who seems to be responding. So my article today is the autumnal equinox. The equinox and solstices have always been traditionally times of high ritual since ancient times, and the Anglo-American twin rituals. So obviously, the United States and Britain are connected for obvious reasons. And I give some examples of some of the twin or mirroring rituals between Britain and the United States. One of them is Donald Trump and Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson, he was prime minister briefly. At the same time, Donald Trump was president of the United States, and they were mirror images of each other. Also, their personalities, how they're really like off the cuff, they're kind of boorish. They conduct themselves, which is not traditionally the manner in which heads of state conduct themselves, and they're kind of clownish and cartoonish. And part of that clownish image was their hair. How people made fun of their hair, but that's just part of the comedic image that they had in common. And they were both born in New York City. Boris Johnson was born in New York City, as was Donald Trump. And they're both Geminis, which is very significant because the symbol for Gemini zodiac sign is twins, and that's what they were. They were twins. So I give these two as a prime example of the twinning and mirroring you see between Britain and the United States. It's in the news, it's in sports, it's in pop culture, it's history. I'm doing a series now on my YouTube channel about the Queen symbolism and Charlotte. I talk about Charlotte. Charlotte's a very significant queen because she was the queen consort married to George III at the time the United States gained independence from Great Britain. So Queen Charlotte is very significant. And you're seeing a lot of Charlotte symbolism now. There's a series on Netflix, Bridgerton. It's about the royal family. It's extremely successful, but now Queen Charlotte is getting her own miniseries by herself. They're going to just focus on Queen Charlotte. I talked about Princess Charlotte at the Queen's funeral, where a spider showed up. Who was the most famous fictional spider? It's Charlotte from Charlotte's Web. So this is the twinning you'll see between the United States and Britain, for example. So Johnson and Trump, a lot of it had to do with their zodiac sign because they are both Geminis, which is both twins. In fact, in Freemasonry, the twin pillars, one of the most salient symbols of Freemasonry is the twin pillars, and they're called Boaz and Jachin. And one has a letter B on it, the other has a letter J on it, and those are Boris Johnson's initials. Boris Johnson, Boaz Jachin, twin pillars. He's a Gemini, and his twin is Trump. So that's not coincidence. So this one just takes a visual. I mean, you can't see this one. You're missing out. You have to see this visual. It's Donald Trump and Boris Johnson. They're sitting at the bottom of a staircase, and we know about Donald Trump and staircases. He announced his presidency going down an escalator, going leading to the lobby of Trump Tower. And then his ex-wife, Ivana Trump, just died, they say, at the bottom of a staircase. So this is a big symbolism with Trump. It's all Masonic. One of the symbols of Freemasonry, where you see a staircase and twin pillars, sometimes it could be a ladder. This is not always a staircase. Is in the tracing board of the entered apprentice. Apprentice. Who's known for Apprentice? Donald Trump, the Apprentice. Like for 15 years, he was in prior times the Apprentice. That's a reference to the entered apprentice of Freemasonry. It's very heavily embedded with Freemasonry. Now, second degree Freemasonry is fellow craft. Their tracing board, I put that picture on the right. Well, that's always a staircase, a winding staircase, always. And that's the symbol that Donald Trump and Boris Johnson were portraying. This has to do with the subconscious, the unconscious. These symbols mean something on an unconscious level. They have a vibration, and it's ancient, and they know what that means. That's why they put this out. It's not just to be funny, or they think. No, it actually does have a vibration, and it has some effect on an unconscious level on any human psyche who's viewing that. So you have these two Geminis, who are twins, images of each other, personality-wise. They represent Boaz and Jachin, that's Boris Johnson's initials, standing by the staircase. That's pure Freemasonry. So that would be my prime example of twinning between the United States and Great Britain. Now, another example is in sports. The English Premier League. It's the most popular professional sports league in the entire world, is the English Premier League. And multiple owners of American sports teams also own teams in the English Premier League. And a prime example would be Stan Kroenke, who owns a bunch of teams. He owns the Colorado Avalanche. He owns the Denver Nuggets. He also owns the Los Angeles Rams, who are the champions of the National Football League. Well, Stan Kroenke also owns Arsenal Football Club. Of the English Premier League, Arsenal Football Club are literally one of the most widely supported, have the biggest fan base of any professional team in the world. One of the top. I mean, they're bigger than any American team as far as global fan base. Well, Stan Kroenke owns Arsenal as well. So that's part of your twinning. Now, an example of how they will mirror and twin is last year. Last year's Super Bowl was held on February 13th. That was on Sunday. But 3 days before that, in the English Premier League, Stan Kroenke's Arsenal were playing against a team called Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, the Super Bowl was between Stan Kroenke's Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, 3 days before that, Stan Kroenke's Arsenal played a team from it's Wolverhampton. It's near Birmingham. And okay, I missed it. I should have put a picture here. But Wolverhampton Wanderers, the team colors are orange and black. Now, the symbolism here, it goes to ancient Rome. It's very important symbolism here. And it's based on the planet Jupiter. The planet Jupiter is an orangish brown and white striped planet. That's why the tiger has become a symbolism of the planet Jupiter, because of its orange stripes. And I've talked about on many occasions how the Cincinnati Bengals are representative of Jupiter. The planet Jupiter rules the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. That's why their star quarterback, Joe Burrow, is a Sagittarius. And in college, he played for the LSU Tigers. So he's very much a Jupiter symbol. the tiger is Jupiter, the orange stripes. Now, we know that Jupiter appears that way with telescopes, but in ancient Rome, they did not know the physical appearance of Jupiter, but Jupiter was the chief god of ancient Rome, and Greece, Zeus. The animal in ancient Rome that represented the planet Jupiter, you could have a tiger until you know what it looks like. So it was actually the wolf. They say Rome was founded by a she-wolf, who nursed two, Romulus and Remus. That has to do with something else. That's actually the Sagittarius-Gemini axis. I don't want to get too... Gemini is twins, so Romulus and Remus were twins, and they were suckled and nursed by a she-wolf. They were raised by a she-wolf. The wolf actually represented Jupiter. And Gemini and Sagittarius are directly opposite each other. That's an axis. It's very important, very profound. And in Latin, wolf is lupus. So in Romance languages, typically their word for wolf will have loop in it. L-U-P refers to wolf, because that's the Latin for wolf, lupus. In Latin for Jupiter, the planet Jupiter is lupiter. So it has the loop in it, the L-U-P suffix, which indicates the planet Jupiter. So the word for wolf is also related to the word for Jupiter in Latin, because the wolf symbolized Jupiter. So the football team in the English Premier League, Wolverhampton Wanderers, they're called wolves, and their symbol is a wolf. I'm sorry about missing the image there, but Wolverhampton Wanderers, they're called wolves, and they wear orange and black. So they have two Jupiter symbols. They wear orange and black, which is a modern representation of Jupiter, and they have the ancient representation of Jupiter, the wolf. So do the Cincinnati Bengals, wear orange and black. They represent Jupiter as well. Arsenal defeated Wolverhampton Wanderers 3 days before the Super Bowl. And that was Stan Kroenke's team defeating the Jupiter team. And in the Super Bowl, Stan Kroenke's team, the Rams, defeated the Jupiter team. So this is an example of the mirroring between Britain and the United States. And in that game that Arsenal defeated Wolverhampton Wanderers in, they only won by 1-0. Now, 1 goal was actually scored by a Sagittarius. He's a Brazilian named Gabriel. And so in 2013, there was more twin symbolism in the United States. In the Super Bowl, they had what was called the Har Bowl. The reason it was called the Har Bowl is because the two head coaches of the teams contesting the Super Bowl, the Baltimore Ravens against the San Francisco 49ers, were brothers. One is Jim Harbaugh, that's the San Francisco head coach, 49ers head coach, and the other was John Harbaugh, who was the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. So it was a historical Super Bowl where the two head coaches were brothers, Harbaugh brothers, so they call it the Har Bowl. That's one of the nicknames of it. It had another nickname, which I'll get to, and that was held on February 2nd, 2013. And it was also a Super Bowl historic for a blackout. There was a half-hour blackout at that Super Bowl. That's what it's known. So it's also known as the Blackout Bowl. So it's the Har Bowl as a nickname, and it's also the Blackout Bowl when the two brothers played.
Right.
And that was a ritual.
Indeed. I just wanted to chime in about the Freemasonry connection with Trump and Boris Johnson. Just to remind people, Donald Trump announced that he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower for the 58th election. Again, Masons, builders, buildings, towers. But in Gematria, again, Freemasonry equals 58. So does Secret Society. So does London, England, where modern Freemasonry was created. Tracing board, you're talking about the tracing boards where the stairs fit in. So, yeah, a perfect ritual and the perfect president to do it with. And let's not forget Hillary's book about why she lost was called What Happened, which also equaled 58. And, of course, Freemasonry is for men. Of course, there's the offshoot Order of the Eastern Star, which does involve women, but traditional Freemasonry is men only. So I just wanted to chime that point in. But, yeah. Great observations all around. Okay, what's up next, Rambo?
No, thanks. No, those are great additions, because just that really solidifies the point.
I should also mention.
Yes,
I should also
entered apprentice.
I should say one more thing. again, for people who are new here, Gematria, it's based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. Freemasonry does equal 58. It also equals 158, like Boris Johnson. And let's not forget that he replaced Theresa May exactly 158 weeks after she took office. Okay, I'm done.
No, thanks. No problem. So the Harball Bowl with the two brothers, it's a twin symbolism. You know, they're not twins, they're 1 year apart in age, but it's a symbolism. And they look alike. I mean, they could almost be twins. But it was also known for other history, which is the blackout. There was a power outage in the middle of a Super Bowl, unprecedented. So they also call it a blackout bowl. Now, the twin symbol, the twinning with England is the day before, the Saturday before that. This was February 2nd, the Super Bowl was. Sunday, February 2nd. Well, on Saturday, the previous February 1st. No, actually, no, it's the same day, actually. No, it was not the same. It was the same day. It was February 2nd. Oh, no, wait a minute. The Super Bowl was on February 3rd. I'm sorry. The Super Bowl was on February 3rd, Sunday. In England, the day before, February 2nd, Saturday, in the Premier League, there was a power outage. And this was in London at a stadium called Craven Cottage. The home team was Fulham. And Fulham was playing the more famous Manchester United. And the lights went out. There was a blackout in the middle of that game on a Saturday night. The day before, there was a blackout in the Super Bowl, the very day before. And talking about the American-British connection through sports, the two teams were playing were Fulham, Manchester United. Manchester United are owned by the Glazer family, who also own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the National Football League. Fulham, the home team, are owned by Shahid Khan. He also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars of the National Football Team. So you see how it's a very intimate connection here. And there's a lot more to that. So this season, on October 16th, in the Premier League, there was another power failure, but this one was not as dramatic and not as big a story because it was in broad daylight. It was a game in the middle of the day, early afternoon game. So the lights did not go out, so you didn't notice that. But what happened is they still had to delay the game for 38 minutes because the referees, they still need electronics to communicate, and they have the video replay system. None of that would work, so it was a blackout, but not as visually spectacular because it was in broad daylight, so the lights didn't go out. There was still light. The sun was providing the light. But there was a power outage. Again, this year in the Premier League on October 16th in 2022. Again, October, it's a time of Libra. I'm talking about the autumnal equinox, so I'll get to explain why they do these things. And the delay was 38 minutes. So now this game in England, I mean, even if you're not into sports or you're not into soccer or British soccer, the ritual elements are what's important here. So the equinox ritual, the time of year, the time of Libra, the symbol. I'll get into more of the symbolism. And you brought out, Trump, the Freemasonry, and the Freemasonry, where did it start? It started in London. That affects, pretty much the whole world. So this is more than sports. Even if you're not a sports fan, you can appreciate these details. So in England, the Premier League on October 16th this year, 2022, there was a power outage, and the game was delayed for 38 minutes, which it just looks suspicious, like such a precise amount of specific time, 38. Well, in this instance, the host team was Leeds United, and they were playing against Stan Kroenke's Arsenal. There's Stan Kroenke again. He's in the middle of everything. So it was Leeds United hosting Arsenal. Arsenal are owned by Stan Kroenke, the owner of the Rams. And he was involved in the pre-Super Bowl ritual in the Premier League, earlier this year. Now, Leeds United, the hosts, they're owned by the co-owners of the San Francisco 49ers of the National Football League. There's a trend here. And that's the York family. So they actually co-own Leeds United. So they're not the majority shareholders of Leeds United. They're the biggest minority shareholders. So they're co-owners of Leeds United, but they own the San Francisco 49ers. And Leeds United hosted this game where there's a power outage. And now, why this is significant is the host of this year's power outage, it was broad daylight, it wasn't spectacular, are owned by the owners of the 49ers. Well, the 49ers are the team that was involved in the Super Bowl blackout in 2013.
And Ravens, who won the game, Ravens equals 38 in the same cipher as Harbaugh.
Yeah, okay, that's a good addition as well, yeah. So now there's that connection to the 49ers through the York owner. And it's interesting that their name is York. This is an American family named York who owned the 49ers. Leeds is in the county of Yorkshire, England. So, wow, what are the odds that someone named York would end up co-owning Leeds in Yorkshire? Yeah, there's a lot of ancient history. They're obviously a bloodline family, obviously. This is all bloodline stuff. And so the blackout Super Bowl was Super Bowl 47. And they call it the Har Bowl. In Gematria, Har Bowl is 38. And here we had a 38-minute power outage this is the most recent, between Leeds and Arsenal. And so here's where it gets even deeper with the mirroring, the Anglo-American mirroring. So the referee at this most recent Premier League power outage between Leeds and Arsenal, the referee was Chris Kavanagh. And the United States, that name is very famous as the name of a Supreme Court judge, Brett Kavanaugh. Now, the only difference is the referee spells Kavanaugh without a U. It ends with AGH, whereas the Supreme Court Justice of the United States, his name ends with AUGH. So that's the only difference. There's a difference in spelling. But, yeah, so one is Chris Kavanaugh, the other is Brett Kavanaugh. Now, if you look at Chris Kavanaugh, the referee...
Let's pause real quick, Rambo. We got a quick commercial. Sit tight, everyone.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, the information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
Is there some kind of a cognitive test that I could take? Like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV. Could you repeat that? Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Could you repeat that? Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Could you repeat that? Person, woman, man, camera, person, woman, man, camera, TV. And they say, wow, that's amazing. The first questions are very easy. The last questions are much more difficult, like a memory question. Okay, now he's asking you other questions, other questions. And then 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, remember the first question? Not the first, but the 10th question. Give us that again. Can you do it? And you go, person, woman, man, camera, TV. Wow, that's amazing. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Could you repeat that? Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Could you repeat that? Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Could you repeat that? Person, woman, man, camera, person, woman, man, camera, TV. And they said, wow, that's amazing. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. For me, it was easy. That's not an easy question, and it's okay. If you repeat them out of order, it's okay. They ask you to, they give you 5 minutes and you have to repeat them. But then when you go back about 20, 25 minutes later, and they say, go back to that question and repeat it. You can do it. And you go, person, woman, man, camera, TV. Wow, that's amazing. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. TV. Could you repeat that? Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Could you repeat that? Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Could you repeat that? Person, woman, man, camera, person, woman, man, camera, TV. And they said, wow.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked one, obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
This is not a valid claim, officer.
Condition orange. Situation delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal.
More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, we're back, Truth Seeker. We got interrupted by the commercial break. We still got 2 hours of show left, and Rambo's still with us, and he's got the floor again.
Yeah, over the break, I included the 2 graphics on the team Wolverhampton Wanderers, so you can see their orange and black colors. And I put the graphic for the game, and you can see the date is February 10th. 2022, that was 3 days before the Super Bowl.
And
2022.
10/2, like 102, it was the 102nd NFL season. So, perfect.
Yep, that as well.
It was the 41st day of the year. Super Bowl 41, LA 41. Perfect.
Yeah, so I talked about the synchronicity with the name of the referee at the recent Premier League game where there was a power outage. And his name was Kavanaugh. With the United States, you say Kavanaugh, you think of the Supreme Court judge. Now, the referee, I talked about the 49er connection to the whole thing. It happened in Leeds. Leeds United, the home team, are owned by the co-owners of the San Francisco 49ers, who were involved in the Blackout Bowl of 2013. Well, Chris Kavanaugh, the referee, his birthday is 49, like 49, 4th September. You know, so that synchronizes. So there's a 49er Blackout connection again. And so you think about a referee and a judge, they actually do the same thing. They're both very Saturnian, if you put it esoterically. They're both arbiters, and they're both judges. They both interpret and enforce the law. And Judge 47, gavel 47, that's the number of, the judge. Well, it was Super Bowl 47, where you had the blackout. And there's more significance to that esoterically as well. And that's why judges and referees typically wear black, because that is the color. Black is the color of Saturn. So yeah, what that tries to show is all the mystery traditions and mysticism. They're in everyday life. Most people think that's something that's not significant. They don't take it seriously. Well, it's in every aspect of life is governed by these mystery traditions, these mystery elements, the elements of mysticism, such as things like, why do judges wear black? Why do referees, officials wear black? Because it's the color of Saturn. And so they have similar, they're both arbiters, so they have a similar position, these two Kavanaughs. And so Brett Kavanaugh, His birthday is February 12th. Now, the upcoming Super Bowl will be on February 12th, be his birthday, which is also Abraham Lincoln's birthday. His full name, Brett Michael Kavanaugh, in Gematria's 122, like 12th February. His birthday and Abraham Lincoln's birthday. His name matches up with that. There's the Abraham Lincoln connection. As we know, Abraham Lincoln was shot at Ford's Theater. And who was the biggest obstacle to the Judge Brett Kavanaugh being confirmed? If anyone remembers that whole circus of the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, his confirmation hearings? Who was the biggest obstacle? It was Christine Blasey Ford. And who said that he had sexually harassed her, some years ago. And she was the special platform. There was a Senate Judiciary Committee. In the whole hearings, there was a separate Senate Judiciary Committee hearing just over Ford's allegations. So it's almost like I was talking about earlier about the Queen Charlotte. There's a series, Queen Charlotte is part of it. Then she ends up having her own show. This was Christine Blasey Ford, almost had like her own show, you could say. But Christine Blasey Ford, and he was already on trial anyway. Like, it wasn't like he was going to be convicted. They were just, again, that was the circus. But think about that. He was born on Abraham Lincoln's birthday, Brett Kavanaugh, and this big, event dealing with centered around Christy Blasey Ford, as in Ford Theater. And what I'm telling you too is that the hearings were a theater. That's what they were. It was Christy Blasey Ford's theater. And her name, Christy Blasey Ford, has Gematria of 212, like the date, February 12th. So Kavanaugh's birthday, Lincoln's birthday, and the date of the next Super Bowl. So this is why they do things like this. This is ancient ritual. In ancient times, high rituals performed at the solstices and the equinoxes. So Libra is the time of the autumnal equinox, so there will be many autumnal equinox rituals at the time of Libra. And it's a sunset ritual because the sun sets on the year at the time of Libra. That summer's over and we're going into fall, so it's similar to a sunset. So you'll see a lot of sunset rituals, and this year there were a bunch of them. But I won't get into all of those. There won't be time for that. But so when you see a power outage, that is a sunset ritual. What that is symbolizing is it's the sun in the winter solstice. That's when the sun is, that's when it's at its lowest point, when it's at its weakest, after setting during the equinox. So the two head coaches at the Blackout Bowl, just look at their birthdays. John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens, that Super Bowl, but John Harbaugh, and he's still the head coach. It was back in 2013. He's still the head coach of the Ravens, but his birthday is at the autumnal equinox. His birthday is September 23rd. His brother's birthday is at the winter solstice. It's December 23rd. Freemasons pay a lot of attention to that. September 23rd is actually when Freemasons honor the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff ritual. It happens on September 23rd, and this is another, not that we need any more, confirmation that Donald Trump is a Freemason, the apprentice, entered apprentice of Freemasonry. When he tweeted his objection to the players protesting at the national anthem by kneeling and calling Kaepernick, that was his big claim to fame at the time when Kaepernick started doing it. Donald Trump tweeted his opposition to that on September 23rd. And this shows that he's a Freemason because they'd been doing the kneeling throughout the preseason. There's 4 preseason games. They had a whole month, and Donald Trump never said anything. At the season opener, they did it again. They were kneeling, even when the season started, and Donald Trump still didn't say anything. But he waited until September 23rd to tweet his objection. Gate of Solomon's Temple. He's the architect of Solomon's Temple, and he's killed at the West Gate by some fellow on 23rd, which is why Donald Trump tweeted his opposition on September 23rd. And the kneeling itself that the players do, it's a genuflecting. Technically, kneeling is when you're on both knees, where it's just one knee that's actually technically not genuflected, but nonetheless, that is the position that Freemasons take during their ceremony for the martyrdom of Hiram Abiff, which is a sunset ritual. They kneel. There are 2 rows of Freemasons facing each other, and in the middle of the of the 2 rows of kneeling or genuflecting Freemasons. One Mason is lying on the ground. He represents the body of Hiram Abiff, and they kneel. So the players doing the kneeling are Freemasons, doing a Freemason ritual. Donald Trump is a Freemason. He honors it by tweeting his opposition, which is fake opposition. He's not opposed at all, because he's a Freemason like them, and they're all part of the ritual. So yes, September 23rd. And that's John Harbaugh's birthday. Again, Libra, they do sunset rituals. Sunset ritual. What's the sunset? When the sun goes down. So when he's at the Super Bowl with his brother born on the winter solstice, the lights go out. This is a Freemason ritual. It's a sunset ritual, and that's what it's about. And if you look at the symbol for Libra, it's the scales. And what else uses the scales? The justice system. That's where, Kavanaugh relates to as well, because of the scales. So, and that's a decode for today. I mean, I can always, there's tons more examples on equinox rituals, autumnal equinox rituals this year. But yeah, so this shows the root of a lot of these events. You see, they all have esoteric roots. To the best of my ability, I can, I'll reveal what I can identify.
Well, brilliant work as always, Rambo. Unfortunately, about the last 5 minutes or so, our connection is cutting in and out. So hopefully they were able to take in most of it. Again, it only happened in about the last 5 minutes. But yeah.
I might have been, I was kind of moving the phone around a little bit. I don't know, maybe it was because I was...
It's not you, Rambo. It's I can see the internet connection is going up and down, so.
One thing I have noticed, like my video, I got a strike. It's essentially a strike because I'm not monetized. I can't be monetized on my YouTube channel, so it's a strike. They're saying it's a warning, but it's a strike. If I'm not, it seems to be when I get a lot of problems.
Yeah. Again, you're touching on things that they don't want a lot of people to know about. So, yeah, our stream is definitely hurting tonight. Woo, man. It was good. This week we'd have a better show because they cut us off about midway last week. So, got another new video. His work is brilliant. You don't want to miss it. It's better than anything on your expensive cable TV. I'll promise you that much. Plus, it's commercial free. So, all right, friend.
All right.
You have a good night. Appreciate you, man.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Yeah, take care. All right, Truth Seeker. Yeah, I see what the internet connection is doing. It's bringing Kobe Bryant past. People know him very well in the sports community, and he wanted to tell his story tonight. And it's fitting because he comes from a family with a Freemason background, and he just wanted to share a bit about his own personal story. If you came out to us, or if you came out with us in New York, you might have met.
No problem, family. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can. And just as a heads up, in case this broadcast is just too shaky and this doesn't go as well as it should, we can always do this again. But let's just hope for the best. And you got the floor.
Okay, definitely. All right, guys. So, Cousin Mar, like, Cousin Zach was saying. So, here's the thing. So I was raised in a Masonic family, and Cousin Zach ran my numbers, so he already can, let you guys know that, by the numbers that are in my name, they definitely chose me. So Cousin Zach, I have a question for you because, you always, said this and, as, family, I never really told you this story. So, now I'm telling you in the community the story. So I have a question for you. So do you think that they're cool and then the athletes pay them back by, taking care of these people once they make... Okay, so that was my story. So, I was basically adopted by a man. So he had 4 children with my mother, 2 daughters and basically, 2 boys. I was adopted by him. But he had a son by my aunt. So I always thought that was weird. So, but I could never understand like why he would never have any of the boys around but me. And I understood it after I started to like get into like middle school and I started to play sports. And, you know, I just started to have like these type of like handler people that would just like always finance things. You know, like he would finance some things like when it came to like school and life. But then when it came to sports, I always had like a coach or I always just seemed to just have somebody that would like pay the bill. And I always just thought that was weird. You know, and I was like on the Tachi stream one time trying to tell him like, listen here, man, like to Zach has seen, like I can honestly tell you guys that like the Masons, they find women that are single mothers, and then they basically put men in their lives that can take care of them and take care of their children, and basically they fund, you know, the lives of the child who's going to basically be the breadwinner. And you know, if that child doesn't succeed, then basically family members are taken out. I used to always think that it was weird that he died at the age 59 until I knew Gematria. I mean, basically, once I found out Gematria, I know why he was killed. You know, I didn't hold up my end of the bargain on, I guess, what promises he was giving these people. You know what I mean? So, for instance, he always pushed me to play for Sunny Hill League. Then I sit back and I think, well, Kobe Bryant, Russell Butler, Eddie is just like all over. And it seemed like, you know, he might have came from like an adopted family. I never really asked him, you know what I mean? So, but, you know, it was just crazy because, like, you know, just growing up, Cousin Zach, you know, my birthday is 1/14/1983, you know what I mean? And basically after finding, you know, you out and then crunching the numbers and then going back to my story, it was just like, wow, man, this is crazy. Like this guy, and then you know, like, this guy really was doing what Cousin Zach was saying, you know what I mean? And then they knocked him off when he didn't hold up the end of the bargain. Because it was real weird how he, you know, he just like fell down the step and like, you know, and like passed away, you know what I mean? Like, so it was just weird because it was like nobody was in the house. And then like we come home and then it's just like ambulance and everything. It's just like, yeah, your dad fell down the step. And I'm just like, wait, what? Like, that's weird. Like, well, like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? So, but like now that I know Gematria, it makes perfect sense that it was just like, well, I mean, I'm not sure, you know, Negro 59, you know what I mean? Is it, you know, so, but anyway,
what
back
day
to my
again
story.
did that
So
happen?
I went.
What day did that happen to him?
What'd you say, Cousin Zach?
What day did that happen to him?
All right, hold on. I'm trying to think. He passed away on May 29th.
The 149th day of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. In Philadelphia?
Yep. And yeah, in Philadelphia, yeah.
That's a big number with Revelation, and we know where Philadelphia and the Revelation riddles fall in. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and he was like a high-ranking Freemason. You know, like he got plenty of like, you know, like his actual like blood relatives into it. Like I never, you know, tried to get into it or nothing like that. I just, you know, didn't really consciously know that I was like benefiting from these guys. You know what I mean? Like trying to, like my teachers were like friends of the family, and I was just like, I used to always think that shit was weird, Zach. I'd be like what? Like I just seen this like lady on Friday. Like why is she at my house on Sunday? Like why is this guy at me? And then so throughout my whole like elementary school, middle school, high school year, all my teachers were always just seemed to be like friends of the family. It was just very, 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 very odd. You know what I mean? Like to the point that where, you know, I can honestly say I was giving grades. So I started playing basketball in about 8th grade. By the summer of 8th grade, I was sponsored by Reebok. I was sponsored by N1. Like no bullshits, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then my AAU team was sponsored by Sonny Vaccaro and Adidas. And we were wearing, and I was, besides Kobe Bryant, I was the very first person in Philadelphia that had the crazy Kobe 8s. I can guarantee you that, my AAU team. Like that's no bullshit, no freaking Roman Catholic and St. John Newman all bidding for me to go to their school. West Catholic won the bid. I remember him coming home saying, yo, And he never came out and watched the game. Never. That I always thought that was odd. He never came and watched the game. He never saw me play basketball. Never. The guy that adopted me, that raised me, never seen me play basketball. Not a day in my life. That was weird. I always thought that was weird though. Like, why can't you come to a game? But that's beside.
Really? Yeah, that is weird.
So there was like real shit. Like he never came and seen a game. I thought that was weird. I was just like what? Like I can walk to school where I'm fucking playing. Like, you know, you can't drive up the hill, but all right, that's beside the point. So back to the story. So West Catholic, Roman Catholic, St. John Newman, there was all a bidding war. And basically West Catholic won, and they won because they were sponsored by Reebok. You know, long story short, you know what I mean? I was sponsored by Reebok personally. So, you know what I mean? It was only fitting that I went to the school. They paid him like $75,000. Remember the movie Blue Chips?
Yeah, I do. Nick Nolte. Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. So basically, you know, that's how it is in the Jesuit world. They're paying young black guys and their families, and you know, like, you know, they're giving you whatever you want because they're molding you to be that class slave. You know what I mean? I was getting paid at West Catholic, cousin Zach. I was getting paid per game. I was getting paid by LaSalle University. I was getting paid by Speedy Morris and his son. Speedy Morris's son was the assistant coach at West Catholic High School. I was getting paid per game, like real shit. You know what I mean? I always was just like, all right, so is anybody else getting paid? Russell Butler was getting paid. Eddie Griffin was getting paid. They were on my AAU team.
Eddie
so, like,
Griffin,
I used that kind of
R.I.P.
patience with you.
Eddie Griffin. They had to kill him
Eddie
and
Griffin.
humiliate him.
Yeah, he had a head-on collision crash with a fucking train. I thought that was odd. They said he was depressed. I know the whole story. I went to his funeral.
Didn't they say he was? If I remember right, didn't they say like he was like masturbating and driving?
Yeah, there was something. It was something weird, and I was just like, "Yo, that makes no sense," because he was the quietest. If anybody from Philadelphia knew Eddie Griffin, they would tell you he was the quietest, most lovable person. Like, it made no sense. It made no sense whatsoever. And I'm like, wait, what? And then, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it made no sense. Just like with the whole Russell Butler thing, when he died the Sunday morning of the Eagles Super Bowl. And I was just like, wow, that was a crazy ass sacrifice. You know, then I sit back and reflect like, damn, like, what if I was famous? Like, or what if I'd have made the decision to like, you know, walk down that path or accept that, you know, invitation to go play for that guy, because I knew where that would lead, you know. And I just like, you know, I got to the point there where it was just like, I just don't want to be around weird individuals, you know what I mean? And it went from like a masculine thing to now the trainer is questionable. You got what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's just like, wait, so if I get injured, this guy got to be rubbing on me? No, like, you know, like, nah, I'm not comfortable with that. You feel what I'm saying?
It's taking us to commercial, Mars. Sit tight real quick.
By how we feel. Third, our lives are affected by what we do. It is so important to understand this. If you want to influence and help people, here's the key. Success is a doing. You've got to actually do it. Activity is high priority in the life process to try to get maximum benefit out of what we have available. Activity. Now, here's an important question. What is your philosophy about activity? What about hard work? What about long hours? What about full days? If you're doing something, how hard should you go at it? How much time should you put in? Everybody has to develop their philosophy about activity. Let me quote you Old Testament says, 6 days activity, 1 day rest. That's called philosophy of ratio of
It's
activity.
amazing how people have been raving about Aya Life all over Facebook. They've been posting their testimonials just because they want to get the word out because it's worked so well for them. If you're not familiar with Aya Life, it's a 99% pure CBD oil. But the secret is the synergy between the hemp and the ayahuasca vine, the non-psychoactive component of the ayahuasca tea. We recently received an email from a wife whose husband has Parkinson's. For the first time, he's been able to sleep through the entire night. Another customer reported that they're no longer using NSAIDs because their tennis elbow has been relieved with Aya Life. The reports have been phenomenal and much more than we ever expected. Everyone should have access to this. That's why if you head on over to ayalife.com right now and use coupon code TFR, we'll give you $5 towards your order. And we'll even ship it worldwide. That's ayalife.com. AYALife.com.
We exist in the security and comfort of our worlds. Paved paths, lights, and manicured lawns give us peace of mind that our world has been tamed, and we are its master. But other worlds exist on the edge of our sight. On the edge of our awareness, the shadows move. The woods fill with the unblinking eyes of the nightmares our ancestors warned us about. Some of us have stumbled into these forgotten realms, whether on purpose or completely by surprise. I'm Brent Thomas. Join us on the Paranormal Portal Friday and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. to midnight Pacific Standard Time as we journey into the world of the paranormal phenomena.
Enter the Paranormal Portal if you dare. No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR, your protection from deception.
All right, I'm seeing some people in the chat say things have gotten better now that we shut down the stream. Yeah, unfortunately, we're having some more technical difficulties. Cousin Mar, you still there?
Yeah, you sound much clearer now, to be honest.
Well, hopefully it stays this way. All right, again, if you guys are having trouble hearing Cousin Mar, he's telling his story about being adopted and just everything that's happened in his athletic career and just the corruption he's got to witness and just knowing a thing or two about, you know, being adopted into a connected Masonic family. So if this interview, I'll go back and see how this came through. If it was too choppy and you couldn't hear a lot of what Cousin Mar said, we'll definitely do this again on a night where hopefully we're not having as much interference, but we'll continue for now and hope for the best. So you got the floor, friend.
All right. So, like I said, you know, and I'm going to leave it short as far as like the whole trainer situation. Like once I started to realize that, you know, the masculinity in the basketball game was like leaving, that's when I started to like question things because it was very odd, knowing personally that, you know, Sonny Hill being the vice president basketball of operations for the Philadelphia 76ers, you know, he didn't like, you know, the same things that I liked as a man, you know what I mean? He didn't like, he didn't like women. So I was just kind of like, you know, it's kind of odd because, you know, one of the higher ups, and that made me fall back and you know, it was very weird, you know, and crazy is that my date numerology and my actual birth, 1/14/83 equals 98, and 1998 was the year that they really like started to like really introduce me into the full gauntlet of things. That's the year that I graduated middle school. And then, you know, like I said, the summer of '98 is like when, you know, out of nowhere, I got N1, you know, coming up to me at tournaments. They signed me. Reebok signs me. Then that, you know, following couple of weeks later, you know, West Catholic, you know, gives, you know, my doctor dad all of that money. Now I'm at West Catholic, and it's just like, you know, they're trying to like pop me up on a pedestal, and I'm just sitting back thinking like, why am I so special? You know, it's just like you start to, you know, when you have your alone time, you start to like really start to think, and you know, it starts to like really like mess with your mind. Like, damn, like, you know, I'm so damn special. Like, why am I in the hood? You feel what I'm saying? Right. You know, like, you know, or why aren't things, you know, like only things easy in life seem to be like sports related. You know, like, you know, why, you know, it's just like you start to have like weird ass questions, and then, you know, like the family life, you know, just like, well, why aren't I so close? Like, you know, like my mom, like on some real stuff that my mom, I don't know if she, because when I asked her, like, you know, she tried to like brush me off, so I'm not sure if like she was like really a part of the plan or not. Cause you know, I asked her, I was like, well, like, aren't you really like, why aren't you doing like the real mom things and shit, like if you were there? And then she always used to be like, oh, well, you know, Walt had you, you know what I mean? And I'd be like, well, did he really? Like, man, you like my mom, you know what I mean? Like, you could have, you know, been there to help make some decisions in my life. And I just like always thought it was very odd that, you know, she put him on a pedestal too. And I was just like, all right, well, maybe she knew something, you know, maybe my mom was going to get, you know, parts of something, you know, if everything panned out, you know. I mean, I look at everybody like really in my direct contact at life now different after finding out Gematria because of my story. You got what I'm saying, Cousin Zach? Just because, you know, I was privileged to be in a lot of like crazy situations, like being like a paid high school athlete, you know, being sponsored, just like, you know, being able to like do what I want. Oh, yo, and then listen, right? And this is another thing. They also they definitely are arranging situations, like as far as marriages. Yo, my girlfriend in high school, like my girlfriend from the time I was 14 to the time I was 23, her grandfather was the president of Honeywell. Like, what? Like, what is she doing dating some dude in the inner city?
Sure. Yeah. Interesting.
Like, real shit.
So,
what? Like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so what happened along the way that had you fall out of the good graces of these people?
I didn't get down with the get down, Cousin Zach.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to, like, you know, I wasn't trying to like say it so the stream, you know, like, I mean, that's something that like you and I would have to like talk about, you know, those situations. But like I didn't, you know what I mean? Like you know, when you're not playing their game, you got what I'm saying? You know, like you those athletes like LeBron. So you ever heard of the phrase? I guess it's like buck breaking.
What's that?
That's like, you know, when the male athletes gotta like, you know, bend over. You got what I'm saying? And basically take one.
I see.
You know, like, yeah, like, I mean, I know personally of some situations. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I know that, you know, guys that have made it, you know, that were messing around. Like I said, the guys that made it from Sunny Hill's league, and Sunny Hill was one of those guys. You got what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's just like, yeah, I like I told my adopted dad, I can't go for that, bro. Like, I'm not gonna go play in that league. Like, no, I'll go play AAU. Like I told him, I'll play high school ball. I ain't gotta go play that. You know, and my plan, you know, didn't work, obviously, but, you know, it was just, you live and you learn. But I was definitely, that's the last thing like, no, I don't think that's going to work there, buddy. You know, nah. So, you know, that's what made me fall out of their good graces. in all honesty. You know what I mean? Then you know, I became uncoachable, and you know, I became a problem, and all of this and all of that. And, hey, you know what I mean? Like, if that's the price I gotta pay to, you know, just be, you know, like, all right, you know, I see what's going on here. You know, I got what you're saying. And then our relationship, you know, me and my adopted father, you know, so I fell out of the good graces around like my 11th grade year. So that probably was like 2000. That's probably like when I fell in like the national ranks, because like freshman year and 10th grade year, I was like number 9 in the country. Like it was like DeJuan Wagner. It was like Andre, what was his last name? It was like Andre Henry or Andre Barrett or some shit like that. He was Rod Strickland's nephew. And then you had Kobe Bryant's one cousin, Maurice Bryant. Then you had Brandon Brigham, and then it was like a couple other like point guards and all of that shit. Then I was like number 9. But like, yeah, I fell out of their good graces like literally like 2000, because I was just like, yeah, shit's getting weird. You know what I mean? And like, you know, and I really just stopped playing ball, to be honest. Like, you know.
Well, I can understand why.
Like,
I would have made the same decision as you.
Yeah, like, you know, like, to be honest, like, on some real shit, I haven't played, so I'm 39, so the last time I actually picked up a basketball and, like, played competitively, it was, like, when I was 21. Like, you know, I knew the politics in it, you know what I mean? I'd go to tournaments, and I'd be busting dudes' ass, and then I'd, like, you know, wait to the following week rankings, and I'd be like, well, wait, what the fuck? I just gave this dude 36. How the fuck is he still? And then it'd be like, oh, well, that's such and such's grandson, or that's such and such's, you know, situation, and then, you know, this dude, and, you know, like, what's the dude that played for Washington Wizards, I think, like, Kyle Kuzman, like, him and the guy, Sam Rhines, they had an open relationship, and Sam Rhines is one of the biggest AAU coaches in fucking Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, you know, like that's how it goes, you know? Like, you put out and then you go to the league, you know what I mean? Like, that's definitely, you know, how it goes down. You see what I'm saying? So, but anyway, so once I graduated high school and all of that shit, you know, like, life just kicks you in the dick and all of that. So now we're going to go to my Gematria story. Okay. 2019, I'm homeless. So I don't know what the fuck to do in life. Then comes 2020, January 26th. I'm sitting in the plasma line. Kobe Bryant dies, or that's the day that he died, right? January 26th, right?
That's right.
All right. So January 26th, I'm sitting in the plasma line, homeless, folks. You know, going there to get, you know, a little wimpy $50, you know, so I could eat, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sleeping on my, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sleeping in the back of the barbershop, to be honest. You know, sometimes I'm sleeping in my, you know, my buddy that lives on top of the barbershop. Sometimes he lets me, you know, sleep, you know, on the couch or whatever. Then Kobe Bryant dies. So then I go on YouTube and I asked the question. I really did. Who killed Kobe Bryant? Next thing I know, this guy pops up, cousin Zach. And he's screaming all these numbers, and he's going all manic, and he's saying all this wild shit. And I'm like, 113, 40. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, yo, what the I'm like, all right. So, like, you know, I go home, and being a fanboy, being like one of these fucktards, the sheep, you know, being asleep, you know, I'm all upset, but I'm still listening to Zach the whole time I'm leaving the plasma. I didn't even donate plasma. I fucking left. You know what I mean? Like, I just hopped back on SEPTA, went to wherever I was going. Freaking was like, all right, man, like, this is crazy. Then the sheep I was around, they was upset. So, you know, we just smoked the blunt, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get back to this guy, because this guy is crazy. So, like, I got to figure out what the fuck he was talking about. And then I'm thinking, like, damn, I think I heard of this dude before, but, like, I lost him. But anyway, I'm back to you. So you screaming out numbers, this, and this. You making all of these calls. And then shortly after Kobe died, you know, it was like the Super Bowl. But I think that it was like the Super Bowl, and then Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
And then when you called the Super Bowl, then you called Tyson Fury, And then the All-Star game happened, and then they had the target score of 157.
Yeah.
Zach, I love you, bro. I was so like I was. I said, listen, this is something that I need to fucking know. So I went and got the books. You know, basically like I got like 2 physical copies of your books, and then like you was just like the one big ass book I downloaded on ebook. So I was just like reading through it. And then I started off with the chapter with like, I guess like sports deaths or some shit like that. So that was helping me. And then the chart that you had in the book, you know what I mean, where you was like breaking it down, that made it simpler. And then I'm just watching you, and I'm just like watching you all day at this point. Like people can't even bother me. It's just like, yeah, can I charge my phone here? And they're like, what? I'm like, I just gotta watch my teacher. And they're like, well, why you gotta watch the teacher? Like, don't worry about that. I just gotta watch my teacher. I just gotta learn some more shit. Then I'm gonna introduce that shit to you guys, because like you guys need to know this. But you know, nobody believed me. We'll get to that point. I got the last laugh. Zach knows I got the last laugh. A couple people in the chat know I got the last laugh also, but that's besides the point. So I'm just sitting there. I'm watching you for like 11 hours straight on end, Cousin Zach. And then not only that, we start dealing with this situation. You know what I mean? The sniffles or whatever they want to call it, the Batman and Robin on the coin and all of this sort of crazy shit. But then you just start predicting all of that crazy stuff. March 11th, listen, when you said that the country was going to get shut down on March 11th, and I'm sitting there and I'm telling everybody that the country going, March 11th. Yo, I'm gonna see you guys in like a year. Don't worry about it, guys. I love you. Listen, don't fall for nothing. Everything will be back. They're like, yo, what do you keep talking about March 11th? I said, oh yeah, we about to get shut the fuck down. And literally at like 3-something in the afternoon, they was like, all right, guess what, country? We're shut the fuck down. And people was like, yo. I said, yeah, I'm on to that. Fuck that. I can't wait for, like what else he's going to tell me. So then you just start predicting everything that was going on. Then this whole 56 situation happened. And then I think, didn't you go down LSU or some shit? Or some, did you go down LSU in 2020?
Yep. I went down to LSU January and February 2020. Yeah. Right after Kobe died.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like now I'm just like on it. Like now I'm binge watching you. Like now I'm like getting no sleep. And it's just like, it's just to the point that where people like, yo, you're in a cult. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, how can I be in a cult? I don't even know this guy. You know what I mean? Like, but the guy is just like really telling me what I need to know. You got what I'm saying? Like, and the reason why I'm saying that you telling me what I need to know is because being an adopted kid, when you have lonely time and you have time outside of like, not being blood, and you're there, just having no one to talk to. You talk to the man in the sky or the creator or whoever you think he is. And I used to always pose this question: why am I here? After finding Zach, I found a reason why I'm here. Because it's to be woken, it's to be, a fighter, and to basically not roll the fuck over and give up our freedoms and our rights. And it's also to teach other people who, if you can't teach the ones you care about, then you try to go out and just find like-minded people. Because, 1 turns into 2, 2 turns into 4, 4 turns into 8. The next thing you know, we got a situation. Feel me, Cousin Zach? So, that's basically what I've been trying to do, is pass on the knowledge. And this is God's code. Like I try to tell everybody, this is God's code. Like if you don't want to know God's code, you can remain asleep. You can keep getting jabbed. I can't wait for you to fall over. That's less of you to fight. You got what I'm saying? Like to be honest, like this is what I tell people. I don't care anymore. I'm done holding my tongue. If Dr. Evil can say whatever he wants over there in Switzerland, I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want to. How about that? I don't care. If the guy with the glasses over in Washington can just come out and openly just say like, yeah, like what, 14 out of 15 of y'all? Yeah, fuck it, whatever, fuck it. Yeah, I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want to these sheep. Because of that, yeah, they are, so like I'm going to too. So, but I do it in a peaceful way, and I try to teach them gematria first, and if they are too cloudy minded to like really like realize that, you know, this is simple addition and subtraction and it's not really that hard, you know, I basically like, yo, remember in elementary school when it used to be like an A and then an apple and then like a 1? Most people get that concept. They're like, oh shit, yeah, I remember that. And I was like, remember it's like a B, and then it was like a bunny, and then like a 2. And it's like, yeah, and so on and so forth. I'm like, well, A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, all the way up to Z equals 26. And then, you know, reverse, and then I tell them, you know, God equals 7, 0, 15, and 4. Most people that I tell like that, community, actually comprehend that shit that way. So, like, you know, when we're going out there trying to teach our fellow men and women and children, that's basically, I mean, I think that I've never had nobody say, oh, I don't get it. Actually, everybody that I have to, well, we'll get to that story, but I meet a lot of people in my life daily that actually I talk to, and Cousin Zach, I got from meeting you in New York, and shout out to Brother Richard Quinn. I got so many cards that I passed out. It's not even funny. I actually carry them around in my bag daily to give to people that I pick up and drop off. You know what I mean? As a tow truck driver. But yeah, so God's code, Cousin Zach was preaching this knowledge, and you know, at 2020, I'm still homeless. You know, he's still bringing out these predictions. He's still ringing out situations. Listen, what was it? September 12th, after Cousin Zach and came back streaming. And this is for the trolls. I hope you're listening. And Cousin Zach, I don't know if you got the pictures or whatever. You can put it up there on the screen so people can see. So this guy changed my life. I will forever love this guy. And listen, there was a homeless man listening to Cousin Zach go fact for fact, word for word. I only added one thing on this situation of Cousin Zach. You put up the tickets?
I can't really put up any visuals right now because of how bad the connection is, but they can hear the audio right now. So
oh yeah.
We'll show them later though. We'll
okay,
show them.
Yeah,
if you want to tell them though, okay. We'll show the receipts later. But yeah.
Okay, I'm about to tell them. So it was funny because it's 129 if you like do it in reverse, which is 201, and like I never even realized it. So Cousin Zach came back on like the summertime on sports, and like to be honest, I'm like, all right. I started working my little gig. I'm like, damn, I'm gonna just wait because like he's saying like I read his article. His article is real, so I said I'm gonna wait till he comes back on sports. And then like, you know, maybe he can help me change my situation. You know, I'm homeless. You know what I mean? Like I could go right down to the property store. I could place bets every day. You know, like I don't want to be a gambling addict, but you know, I'm a put into his every fucking cent. How about that? So then next, you know, we sitting there. Cousin Zach comes on one Sunday. John Thompson passed away. Then he's like, yeah, I'm going live with sports shit later that night or whatever. So first thing he says, all right, I got the Lakers to win the championship. I got the fucking Dodgers to win the pennant / World Series. Not sure about the freaking the AL pennant. Da 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 da. Listen, by the time that stream ended, this was our future, and I had called then. So this was our future. We had the Lakers to win the NBA championship by the end of that stream. Cousin Rod. You the fucking man. Cousin Rod called in with some shit about Tampa Bay Rays and the Boston Red Sox, and we related that to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So we then went from Lakers winning the NBA championship to Tampa Bay winning the NFC to Kansas City winning the AFC. So then I'm looking at a Sports Illustrated article, and they keep just talking about the Tampa Bay Rays, and I'm like, well, shit, if the Bucks is going, and yo, Cousin Zach, well, what about Tampa Bay Rays? Da 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 da. Says, well, you know what, Cousin Mar, I think that's a fucking good call. So the next thing you know, we got the Tampa Bay Rays on there, and who else am I missing? The LA fucking Dodgers. I put that parlay together, people. That's a future parlay that I put, and that shit smacked on what day? The day that the Kansas City Chiefs won the AFC championship, and the day that the fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the NFC championship. And Cousin Zach, I thank you, brother. I thank you. So for all the trolls out there that don't believe it, and listen, that was my very first time calling in to Zach, and that was the very first day that he started putting out sports and to me. So, you know, for all of the trolls that want to say that he's wrong, like, you know, they listen to us. They know what's going on. But for some reason, they just really didn't know what to do with us that year. You got what I'm saying, Cousin Zach? And we always be laying a smack down on them if you smell what Zach is cooking. You got what I'm saying?
Ooh.
So like I'm tired of the trolls, and I stay I stay on, and I'm gonna keep supporting the Patreon. So I like looking at the troll comments. I don't know why, because I just laugh at them, and it's just sad because they don't know. I was homeless all 2019, folks. All 2019. Then like I said, 2020. You know, Zach started freaking spitting that knowledge to me. I placed a bet on September 12th. I placed one parlay in the morning of all 5 teams. It was like 10 something. Then I said, shit, damn, that sounds like a good parlay. Let me put in the same parlay at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and Zach will be putting up those tickets because he has them. You know, people in the Discord that, you know, can hear me, they seen it. They know what's going on. Yeah. I mean, like, so this trolling shit as far as like sports and life and all of these like videos, like, please, y'all, this guy changed a homeless man's life. Like, seriously, like, I got 2 businesses now. You know.
Well, and give yourself credit because again, and at first when you heard it, you weren't sure about it. You're like, he said this guy sounds crazy, but hold on, let me listen another minute. And then
I was.
Yeah, you weren't.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people come on, and then, but you're like, wait a minute, this is adding up more and more. I better hold on now, and then you put it to the test, and so
yeah, listen, I give myself credit, but it's the fact that, you know, your way of teaching and then the fact that you're so knowledgeable of things, and then the things that, you know, like I said, I wasn't betting anything or whatever, you know. You like, if you would have been putting out sports picks 2020, you might have been. That's not something that I was really, you know, like focused on until I was able to, like, you know, afford to place a bet that September, like I said, you know. So like, I do take the credit because I was the one that pushed the buttons on, you know, FanDuel. I mean, like, yes, you didn't do it, but still, you know, I got to give you credit for teaching the true code of life. They say gold is God's money. Well, this knowledge that Zach is teaching, that's God's language and code. Like, I mean, I don't understand how people can sit there and neglect it and deny it. And then, you know, it's like we see right through situations like the elections where, you know, the community, we seeing right through, you know, everything that's going on. And then it's just like, damn, you know, we look at the outside world and we're just like this shit is crazy, man. Like, people over here are really talking about this work shit, like this shit is real. This guy threw it away with 5 seconds to go at the 1 yard line.
Oh, we got another commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody. Sit tight. More Cousin Mar.
My name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the parents suffering from the sheepwool virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheepwool virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Thank you. It's because we got. There's something about MAGA country, play it over again. We got, make America great again. And by the way, there's the word disinformation. Think of it. And by the way, this is the most corrupt election. Think of it. You know what? I am not the one trying to undermine American democracy. I am the one trying to save American democracy. If you say it enough and keep saying it, they'll start to believe you. But you know, they say it over and over and over. If you say it enough and keep saying it enough, they'll start to believe you. And by the way, we got. There's something about MAGA country, play it over again. We got, make America great again. It's okay to get along with heads of other countries. They'll start to believe you. 2 cameras, just one. I think it's one of my greatest achievements. They don't like it when I do it. Oh, gee, I'm so surprised. And by the way, we got. There's something about MAGA country. Play it over again. We got. Make America great again. They go and target.
You must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
This is not a
Condition
valid
orange.
offset.
Condition orange. Situation delta in effect. Please enter your agent number now, followed by the hash key.
We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR.
Time comes when silence is betrayal. More for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them.
Think for yourself. Question authority.
This code has been compromised.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. Cousin Mars got to get up early and work tomorrow, so he stayed up extra late for us tonight. And we'll talk to Cousin Mar again because the first part of his stream was getting pretty much destroyed by the choppiness. We still don't have a strong connection, but it's not as bad as it was about 45 minutes ago. And again, his story, you guys, there's a lot of people who've benefited from this work in a lot of ways. And I really wish that my channels had not been deleted just so you could read comments on older videos. A lot of people totally changed their life position when the Cavs came back from down 3-1 because that paid 40-1, and I told people to get their money. I said they're going to come back and win it on the real King James's birthday. We've had this one understood all year. And again, 40-1, you guys. You know, the person who put down $100 made $4,000. The person who put down $1,000 made $40,000. And a lot of people just did that and changed their life position. And again, it's not about becoming a gambler, but it's about if the system's rigged and this rigged system's meant to hold you down, well, through this knowledge, you can kind of help, you know, shift your position. The system that's working against you, you know, you can take it and manipulate it back in your favor. And I'm not saying that we can do it every single time because we can't, but we can do it enough times where we're very successful, you know. So, anyhow, Cousin Mar, he's crashing for the night. He does have to work tomorrow. He's no longer homeless. He now has a job, his own business. And he likes to gamble for a little extra money as a side hustle, like a lot of people do in this community. And in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. That said, let's go out to George, who we haven't talked to for a minute. How you doing tonight, George?
Hello.
How you doing, George?
Hello.
How you doing?
Oh, great, Miss Zach. Boy, am I unmuted?
You're on. Yeah, we hear you.
Oh, okay. Boy, it's been something over a month since I've been on with you. I know you couldn't do it for a couple of weeks, and a couple of weeks ago you basically gave the whole show to, or focused the whole show on with Rambo, and last week you were having technical issues. So I realize you probably have a bunch of people online. I'll get to my point. John Fetterman, who I guess he won the senatorial race in Pennsylvania. Have you looked up his birthday?
The same day as the Jesuit order, and his full name equals Society of Jesus. Couldn't be any more perfect.
Okay, and not to cast aspersion, because hey, I'm not the most handsome fellow in the world, but doesn't he look like a movie character, or maybe people say that he's a cross from a Fester that merged for a couple of TV shows from the 1960s.
Okay, I can see Uncle Fester. Yeah.
Okay, now for what it's worth, his campaign manager is Brandon McPhillips. And I didn't know this until today, until I actually looked it up. McPhillips actually got his undergrad degree from Notre Dame. And he was involved with, I guess, the election campaign for Joe Biden in 2020 and several other prominent campaigns. So then you had Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz, his opponent. Now, his daughter Daphne has spoken at Georgetown University. She didn't go there. So this is another example of the Hegelian dialectic that controls both sides.
Right.
Okay. Also, now something you were talking about a couple hours ago is if you're still voting, why? Well, as of yesterday, I became an ex-voter. I'm 53, so I first became eligible to vote in 1988, and I participated in every election since then. And I, sorry, my grandniece was asking something. Anyhow, and I realized for years that it was basically a fool's errand. And, well, not to rationalize or make excuses, but elections and politics, they're addicting. Whenever one comes up, I would have the attitude, well, this will be different. Maybe if the right guy got in office or if my party won, we'd change things. Well, I basically had to take a leap of faith, so to speak, and say, you know what? I'm not going to participate anymore. Case in point, the last election in which I participated was a recall election in California for Gavin Newsom. So we're told that Gavin Newsom not only won the recall, but he got 70% of the popular vote.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, right, really.
And of course, he allegedly got 57% of the popular votes this time round. And so, well, this is my opinion, and I realize I'm not original with this. So the whole purpose of elections, especially in places like America, is the slaveholders want to give the slaves the illusion of freedom. So we'll allow you to choose your overseers. Now, some overseers are less tyrannical than others.
Right.
Would that seem like a fair assessment?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay, and I realize I'm going a bit long. Have you ever discussed the film Conspiracy Theory, which came out in 1997 with Mel Gibson?
Yeah, it came out on 8/8, and Conspiracy Theory equals 88 in Gematria, and it also equals 218 like Holy Roman Empire, and it came out 218 days after Mel Gibson's birthday. We talked about that movie a lot in the past.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed those broadcasts because you've had so many channels sticking down. Well, if I could just say something, this is just my opinion. That movie came out 25 years ago, 1997. So that was right after Oklahoma City and just before 9/11. And yes, there are other things that are going on or would happen, like Columbine. But they realized, the powers that should be realized that with the internet, which was in its infancy at the time, it would be more feasible for people to share information and to question the official narrative about anything. So would that movie seem like a case of damage control?
Sort of, and also I would say predictive programming, and kind of like you said, it came out right after Oklahoma City, and kind of thumbing their nose at us like they always do. So.
Okay, so the alleged screenwriter for that was Brian Helgeland. I'm not sure how you spell it because I'm not online right now. He got his undergrad degree from Loyola Marymount, Los Angeles. And Mel Gibson is a devout Roman Catholic. He's Opus Dei. The co-star of Julia Roberts, Roman Catholic. So as I said, it was a case of predictive programming, but also damage control. Because if you remember the first 5 or 10 minutes of the film, when he's giving his monologues, when he's a taxi driver in New York City, for those who have not seen it, and he's talking about all the famous, ideas of the past, like fluoride, the moon landing, and so forth. And he said, everybody knows that Oswald didn't kill Kennedy. Everybody knows the moon landing was a hoax and all that sort of stuff. But you can't believe him because he's a madman.
Right.
Okay, so I just thought I've gone on a bit long, and we'll have a good evening there.
Well, I appreciate your call very much, George, and it was right on topic. That's what the show started off about tonight. And congratulations on being an ex-voter. I think that's what everyone else needs to do as well. Then how are they going to rig the election if nobody shows up? So.
Well, yes, and so it's like I might go through withdrawals, and I might, but I'll just soldier on.
Well, you could always run for office and vote for yourself. So.
Oh, okay.
But you're in California, and exactly who's voting for Gavin Newsom? I mean, come on. So.
Well, okay. Well, one of your callers earlier was talking about Pennsylvania. Yeah, Dr. Oz versus Uncle Fester.
Uncle Fester.
And okay, so and your caller was saying, who actually voted for Oz? I mean, at least he may be a puppet and a TV personality, but at least he's somewhat articulate. And I mean, not to pick on Uncle Fester, who just had a stroke, and I'm not gonna speculate as to what could have caused that. I mean, is it possible that he's undergone a medical intervention? Who knows? We know that's impossible because we know that these shots are safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective.
Right.
And by the way, did I mention they're safe and effective?
Right.
Brought to you, and this ad is brought to you by Pfizer. So, well, anyhow, maybe I should quit while I'm behind. So have a good evening, guys.
All right, George. You have a good night, friend. Appreciate the call.
You do.
Okay. Okie dokie. Let's go out to 562. 562, you're on. Hold on. Let's try that one more time. There it is. 562. Now you're really on.
Hey, Zach, you hear me? Everything good?
Everything's good.
All right, that's good. So check this out real quick. In week 5, I made a little cash. I don't know if it was much of a decoding than it was a hunch, but Dallas was in town to play the Rams over here at SoFi.
Right.
So I started looking up some numbers, and what I uncovered that Dallas hadn't beat the Rams in LA in 41 years.
There you go. Dallas and LA, big 41 cities.
I couldn't believe it, man. I put some cash on it, and they beat the Rams 22-10.
Indeed. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. So
Yeah.
anyway, I got that, and then on this voter stuff, unfortunately, there's like 3 million people in Orange County alone, and they're all Republicans, and most of them probably are county and city employees, firemen, police, and all their relatives. So it's kind of hard to have any kind of person, with those positions rocking the boat, as they say.
Sure.
Anyway, and I'll just leave you with this. I understand that iHeart is, in bed with Truth Frequency, but we could do without any of those Trump commercials. Maybe you could get rid of that shit,
Well, I don't have any influence over what goes on in the station.
I know. It's the same with the voters,
Yeah.
All right, man.
I hear you, though,
Some other
man.
callers, and I appreciate everything, Zach.
All right, appreciate it too. And just for all the people out there who also don't care for all the Trump stuff, I'm right there with you. But again, I'm a guest on Truth Frequency Radio. I am the black sheep on the network, and pretty much everybody else on this network is a Trumpaholic.
Hey, I guess it's that word, retarded.
Yeah, indeed. All right, friend.
Right.
Well, congrats on the Week 5 win. Keep it up.
Okay.
All right, take care. And let's see. Looks like California next in line. 530, you're on.
Hey, Zach.
How you doing?
I'm good. There's been a lot of callers from Florida, I've noticed. I'm also there right now.
Oh.
I used to live in California, though.
Okay.
And I would say I'm an ex-voter, but I'm not old enough to vote. I'm 15.
Well, yeah, it's good to be 15. So
Yeah,
hey,
I'm not gonna.
you're a young guy that's found the work. How did you find the work as a 15-year-old?
My grandma actually showed me.
Your brother?
Your videos. Grandma.
Oh, grandma. Your grandmother. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet
Yeah.
sweet ladies in the background. She said you must have an awesome grandmother.
She's pretty awesome.
Very cool. Well, what did she show you? Do you remember the first video she showed you?
It was around the Alec Baldwin killings.
Ah, okay. Yeah, a little more than a year ago now.
Yeah. But I do have some stuff to say about Gematria.
Okay.
So, in Satanic Gematria, ironically, do you know Satanic Gematria equals 666?
Yes, indeed.
And the Fallen Angels does too.
For people out there who are new, there is a cipher called Satanic Gematria, and as scary as it sounds, what it is it just starts with the first letter is A. Instead of making A1, you just start at 36. And then B's 37, and C's 38, and D's 39. You just keep counting up until you get to Z 61. And again, 36, the number 666 is the 36th triangular number, which means if you add 1 through 36 together, it equals 666. And then when you write out the name of the cipher, Satanic Gematria, it's also 666. And again, I mean, it blows my mind finding out these things in the time I've been doing the research, because when I first began, I was trying to learn more about why Gematria and its relevance. And one of the first books I found was, after Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages, one of the first books I found was Faith Giovanni's The Divine Triangle. And the only cipher she talks about is the one that we call the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, the same one Manly P. Hall highlights in his book. But she points out in the book, she says there's over 100 ciphers in use in the English language by different, essentially, groups and secret societies. And, no doubt one of them is Satanic Gematria. And that cipher was actually very relevant in a number of rituals that happened with Donald Trump. And, it's a whole nother topic. But yeah, okay, so you're making some discoveries yourself, or rediscoveries. But what else did you want to say?
And I was going to bring up what?
Yeah, just go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay.
I always like when young people call in, so say whatever you want.
All right. So I was going to bring up John Fetterman's birthday, but his name in Gematria actually equals Skull and Bones. 2 out of the 4 ciphers, and then 67, 76.
I see. Good observation.
You've got Society of Jesus, Oz, and Skull and Bones for Fetterman. Have you heard of? Do you remember Benjamin Netanyahu?
Of course,
Minister of Israel.
He's back. He left.
Yeah.
He left Israel on the day leaving 201 days left in the year. I should say he left his prime minister position June 13th, 2021, the day leaving 201 days left in the year, and then he just returned.
Oh, perfect.
By the numbers, yeah.
Well, here's a quote from him from March 14th, 2015. America is a golden calf, and we will suck it dry, chop it up, and sell it off again and again and again.
Yeah. Yeah. That was back when he was doing his 44 seconds of silence to intimidate Obama. And again, people can look at that headline, Netanyahu's 44 seconds of silence. And remember, in Gematria, in Hebrew and in English, the name Netanyahu equals 44. And so does Israel and Zion. And again, it just goes to show they're doing numerical rituals. Don't forget the founder of Zionism, Theodor Herzl, died at age 44 years before Israel was established on July 3rd, 7-3. And then Netanyahu makes his return at age 73. And they say in the Hebrew study of Gematria, 73 is the most important number. He also left while Israel was 73 years old. Right after Israel's 73rd birthday is when he left temporarily, and now he's back now that he's 73.
Okay. His name also equals 17769, the Jesuit order.
Yep.
Netanyahu.
Yep.
And trying to remember. Have you heard of Joseph Aquaviva?
I am very familiar with his channel. He likes to decode me and say that I'm a shill, but yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, apart from that, not bad work. But also 177 and 201, that old serpent equals 177, 201.
Yep.
And the rays of the sun, 201. And Ukraine War and Antichrist have the same gematria in all 4 ciphers.
Huh. That's interesting.
Supposedly, the weight of gold that Solomon received yearly was 666 talents.
Right.
I don't know what that means, but
yeah. That was their measurement system.
Have you heard? Have you heard of Khazaria?
Yeah, that's where the people we now call Jews come from, Khazars.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to talk about. So thanks for letting me know.
All right. Well, for 15, you're way ahead of your time. So keep it up. Appreciate you.
Thanks. I will.
All right. Tell your grandma I said hi. Very, very cool. She shared it with you.
I will.
All right. You have a good night.
You too.
All right, take care. He's got a big man's voice already for age 15. Let's go out to 980. What's up, 980?
Zach, how's it going? It's your boy Snake, D-Program.
Yeah, it's been a while since I heard your voice. How you doing?
Oh, man, I do good, man. I wish you would have came to Atlanta, man. I was in Atlanta. I was going to surprise you. I stay in Atlanta now, man. I was going to surprise you. I could not believe you had I guess the sweet lady needed you to come home.
Yeah, it's been quite the story since I had to come back. I am going to come back out to Atlanta, though. I still feel bad that I didn't make it down there.
Hey, man, you don't never got to worry about me, man. First of all, man, and this is for all the people, too. You don't have to monitor him every day to keep that money coming into that. Man, I keep that come off my debit card every month. You know I don't play like that. That's just to make sure the information can keep coming. I got to keep you viable.
Thank you.
But, man, Zach, you know, I've never really told you, man, because, you know, I do the music, and I don't pressure people about the music. You know, I still got it on iTunes, the Order Out of Chaos. But man, I've never really told you stuff, man, because I used to wonder is a lot of this stuff organic. But I'm starting to think it when your friend called, the last guy, not the young guy, but the guy who did the story about playing the basketball.
Right.
And he told me, and he said his birthday was January the 14th, right?
Right.
I started thinking, man, you know, my family, man, it's strange. I've never told you this kind of stuff. But I got a sister whose birthday January the 14th. She's the manager at Kaiser. Now, my family is out in D.C. Now, listen to this. I got another sister out there. Her birthday is July 22nd. Pie baby, 22 divided by 7. She's the assistant superintendent of Arlington District Schools. It's the smartest school district in America.
Right.
Now, her husband is the director for Kaiser. He's born August the 8th. 88.
Huh.
Then, their nephew, my nephew, their son, he's actually the speechwriter. He just got the new job now. He used to be Tim Kaine's. He used to be on Tim Kaine's staff. You know, Tim Kaine was the one
The
who
Virginia
ran
governor.
the president.
The Virginia governor.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. I mean, you know, he used to work for Northern too. Now, that's my nephew. He's now the speechwriter for Biden and Harris. He's one of the speechwriters for Biden and Harris. His birthday is January 20th. Ain't that inauguration date?
It is. Yep.
Nah, I was thinking about something, man. You know, man, I don't really know. I don't know what's the significance of my birthday because I'm 5'10", but I've always known that it's been something about me because I'm extremely smart, but I've always noticed it's almost like I've been blackballed all my whole life, and I think it's because I'm rebellious. Because when he started talking about that basketball, I was like that. Now, my dad got drafted to play baseball coming out of high school. So happened my dad was rough. You know, we from Detroit. He ended up beating a guy to death, fighting him. Guy stabbed him in the back of the neck. He beat him to death. So my grandmama didn't want him really messing with that baseball. She wanted him to go to the Army. So my dad went to the Army to play football there for Army. Somehow my dad got sick. He was supposed to go to Vietnam. He was fucked up down there for the rest of his life. Long story short, he ended up in the VA. They had cut a third of his lung out or something. I think he had Agent Orange or something. I don't know what it really was. But somehow he ended up in Veterans Hospital for the last 13 months of his life. He died on January 20th. Nah, I don't know, man, because I do music. I never told you this.
Hold on. It's going to commercial. Sit tight. We'll be right back, everybody.
Attitude about society. Unique understanding about other human beings and what makes a good life. What constitutes a good life. How you feel about each other. I've got a good phrase for you. You can't succeed by yourself. So to have a unique, refined sense of appreciation for each other is prerequisite. It takes each other to build a society. It takes all of us to build a country, to build a nation. It takes all of us to build a community. Key phrase, you can't succeed by yourself. It takes all of us to make any one of us successful. And a unique, refined appreciation of the all of us is what makes the I of us do much better. That appreciation of society. It takes all of us to make a market. We need each other's ideas and inspiration. And once you have that sense of appreciation of the all of us, now you and your place and your possibilities and your opportunities now start to really soar when you understand how important it is within the framework of the all of us. So you can't succeed by yourself. It's hard to find a rich hermit.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Gio, founder of Truth Frequency Radio and host of Beyond the Veil. The mainstream media and establishment are running scared right now, and they've prominently featured TruthFrequencyRadio.com as number 89 on the federal government's hit list, also known as the fake news list, which is essentially a list of sites slated for censorship on Facebook, YouTube, Google, and other social media. Now is the time for you to get involved. Share your favorite TFR shows far and wide on forums and social media. Tell your friends and family about your favorite shows. If you're a business owner, get in touch with us to feature your product or service right here on TFR. And if you haven't done so already, become a TFR supporter now and get unlimited commercial-free downloads in high quality.
Visit truthfrequencyradio.com/sign-up.
Thank you for making TFR the leader in independent and uncensored talk radio. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Greetings, Earth Explorers. My name is Brooks Agnew, and I am your host on X Squared Radio every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Truth Frequency Radio Network. This is where the past meets the future. We explore the mysteries of the universe and of the Earth. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. We will dissolve the propaganda of dangerous people with dangerous plans for the planet. We will discuss the latest technologies and challenges for humankind. We will discover the safest place for you to stand when the thinkings and doings of mankind come flying apart, and how you can be one of the people that helps put it back together. Join us.
You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
All right, we're back, True Seeker. We're in the final 30 minutes, and we got our friend on the line who we haven't heard from in a while, and he's telling his interesting story about the organic side, but go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't really know if this organic is as much as do they follow the lives of these people, because like I said, with my dad, man, I told you one thing about my dad, he was adamant about us not fucking with that government. When we was kids, he stayed on us about that shit. I even remember when one of the recruiters for one of the military branches was trying to get my sister. He flew over to the house, and don't you ever bring your ass back over here. And I'm dead serious. And I started thinking, man, because my family is in some hell of a positions, man. When I say some hell of a positions, seem like it's weird in these dates. That's what makes me draw so hard to you, because I know these numbers. I believe in numbers. I've always believed in numbers. So you opened up my eyes to the world of what I know, because you know me, man, I'm very anti-religious, and I think that's what keeps them people, and I'm anti-homosexual. See? And I think that's what keep them, I guess that's what keep them people from really approaching me, even though I always get kind of like little emails from Illuminati type people and shit, because you know I do all my black magic shit. You know how opinionated I am. I force the numbers on them. You know, I'm not scared of nobody. So I force these numbers on these people. And I think I kind of turn the people off with it because I'm so forceful with it. And I guarantee them it's happening. Like I told you, all y'all religion and all that shit, I can do as much research as I want to. It still ain't going to bear no fruit. It's going to still leave me with an opinion. But these numbers bear fruit.
Right.
They bear fruit. Ain't no getting around them. There's no getting around these numbers. And that's why I say I don't know, like the other person said, this really has to have a real organic side. And I think the people believing in these religions is what gives these rituals powers. And you and Rambo together is what's really unlocking these people. Y'all are Freemasonry, whether y'all want to believe it or not. Not Freemasonry as the practice, but Freemasonry as the information.
Sure. Yeah.
And people are very scared of this knowledge, but it's the only thing that fucking bears fruit. The only thing that's bearing fruit, man.
I agree. I don't know. Don't know if I'll say it's the only thing, but the work we put out does bear a lot of fruit, and it does reveal a lot about the nefarious things that are taking place in this world, and the corruption, and the purpose, and who's doing it, and it's evidence based, and the evidence stacks up day after day, and I don't understand why the skeptics are still skeptics, and I can only assume at this point that there's nothing that'll change their minds, and it's essentially cognitive dissonance. But I know we have helped out a lot of people. And we will help out a lot more people as we continue to put out the knowledge and the community grows. So I really appreciate you being out there, friend. And why don't you plug your music so people can come check it out? Because this man put out an album at least a couple. Time flies. It's been at least a couple of years since you put out your album, helping share the knowledge.
It was 3 years ago on September the 11th. It's called Lake Plisciano, The Collusion, Order Out of Chaos. And to be honest, brother, when it comes to the music, I'm to the point now where I'm almost rejecting my own music, because that's one of the reasons I quit. Music is a mind control factor, and music is poisonous, especially the way we have used music now in the black community. Is actually just keeping the devil alive. And that's my thing. But as far as me, I'm giving a message on there. So when I go to the Order Out of Chaos, that's strictly about me just trying to get people aware of these numbers and trying to use this music. But even for the people who are religious, you have to remember the key to these people is they believe in that Bible. See, I don't believe in religion, but I do learn the Bible because you have to know it, because this is their playbook. Right. You have to know that playbook. You don't got to believe in it, but you need to know that playbook. And in that playbook, the devil's over music. Devil was over music.
Indeed.
And so you have to remember that. And one last thing about the takeoff, I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if nobody ever came up with this theory, but I think that was a sacrifice for Drake. Their career launched off with Drake doing the Versace song with them. Jay Prince is the manager over Drake. Yeah, so he's one, and this Jay Prince dude is a very serious dude. But to even make matters worse, Drake's birthday was 11 days before that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, friend. Well, great call, great observations, and great to hear your voice again.
All right, brother. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Okay, and I will come out to Atlanta, so we will meet. You have a good night.
Oh, yeah, let me know, man. You know, email and all that stuff, thing.
Perfect. All right, man. Thank you.
No doubt.
All right, take care. All right, we got Bob Marley's friend on the line. How you doing tonight, friend?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Thanks for always being there.
Oh.
Yeah, I know I've been missing a lot of shows lately, but I won't be missing anymore. We're getting back in the schedule, so.
Oh. So everything goes, man.
Yeah.
I'll say.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll send you one or two video get off of the internet. You check it out. What do you think? What do you think about Conway? Is he doing the right thing or just a part of the program?
Well, they had him and Kyrie both speaking out, right? But then they both kind of apologized. Kanye more so than Kyrie. And ultimately, that's what it feels like it's about. Just so like that they can slap him on the wrist and say, see, we took away all your money and contracts and deals and sponsors. And this is what happens when you speak about us. It seems like it's a big shaming ritual to reinforce in the public. You better not say anything about the you-know-whos or you'll lose everything you have too. So.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Whatever he said was true. You know, they control everything.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But again, I mean, the thing is, for those of us who get it, we nod our head and say, well, see, he said the right thing. But then everybody else who's like, oh my God, that's crazy what he said and how anti-Semitic, and oh, good thing he lost his Adidas contract and that contract and this contract. I think that's the way, sadly, 90% of America interpreted it. So.
Yeah, but the music is what should I say now? Music is anti-black, rap music, it's gangster,
right?
Dope pushers.
Right.
Because, you know, the message is lost.
Right. Right. Yeah, his first album wasn't like that, but then as he became more popular, his music became more stereotypical and a lot of the negative message. So
We gotta try to get a good platform going with somebody popular, man, in the music world or something like that, to get this message out bigger and broader than what it is. See?
yeah, we need to do a lot of things. But yeah, a good musician with a message. Like I've been saying, it would be awesome if we could fill up all these news studios one day all across the nation and get the message out there. And yeah, you're right. Something needs to be done. So. Was there anything else you wanted to say tonight, friend?
No, well, everything good, you know. I want to apologize for the, you know, messing up your. When I call you.
Oh, it's okay. It's fine. You were just checking to make sure everything was okay. I was rude to you, so I appreciate that you're concerned and checking in to make sure everything's all right. I apologize because yeah, I was. For some reason though, when you call when I'm streaming, I don't know what it is about your phone, but it won't let me start the stream again anytime you call in. It's really weird. So I don't know how to explain it.
I mean, I must have it programmed that way.
Yeah, it's something magical about your phone, but it's okay. So you're forgiven. I apologize for being so grumpy that day.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? Every week.
Indeed, you're super loyal, and you came out to New York City. I know there was a lot of more people in that city who could have came out. You made it out there, so I'll always remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, did you get to talk to Rambo before I got there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they was talking before, and when I saw you cross the street, and I said to Rambo, it was across the street, and Rambo said, no, don't make him see me. I'm gonna hide.
Yeah, he did hide. He hid real well too. So.
Yeah, but I shout him up during the week sometime, you know.
Yeah.
So every time I call him, he's busy. So I said, okay, talk to you later.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, but you know, I know I need to do is get some of the books from you, because when you show people the books and make them read it, they get an idea. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. As soon as I finish this next book, I'll order a bunch of copies again, and then I'll get you some more. Because right now I don't have any more copies of Number Games left. And in fact, if you seeds out there, as soon as I get my address recognized, I'll there's a gentleman who also came out to New York, the father-son combination. The school that his son goes to, the assistant principal wants a copy of the book, and Yasid said he'd get him an autograph one from me. And if you're out there listening, I'm going to do that. It's just where I moved to, they don't recognize my address yet, so I can't get anything shipped here yet. I didn't get any mail from USPS.
Okay.
But as soon as I do, I'll get a copy of the book sent to me, and then I can send some more to you as well. So we'll do that.
What I want to get is the numbers game. The first book.
Okay.
And the second book. I want to take it to the station that I'll tell you about in New York.
Okay.
It's no commercial. It's the viewers support the station.
Oh yeah, listener supported radio. Okay, I'll get more copies and I'll send you one, and I'll send Yasid one as soon as they recognize my address. So.
Okay.
All right, friend. Appreciate you. Thanks for sticking with me.
Whenever you get everything settled out and all of that, and get the books, I want to order something and give it to some of them people, you know.
Okay. I will get you more copies.
Schools and all of that.
I will get you more copies.
Yeah. But I pay for them. You know, It's no problem, you know.
Okay. I'll do it.
Yeah.
All right, Astley. I appreciate you, man. You have a great night. Thanks for always staying up late.
Yeah, all right. See you next week.
Yeah, indeed. All right, you have a good night, friend.
All right. Yeah,
Take care.
cool.
Yeah, I always think it's funny how you East Coast people stay up till midnight to listen to this show, but then after being in New York, I found out that you can't even go to bed out there. I don't think I slept at all when I was in New York. All right, let's go out to New York again. What's up, 347? This man also came out, but he might have stepped away from the computer for a minute or his phone. 347, are you there? I notice when we go to his phone these days, it's a lot more quiet. Back in the day, every time he picked up, it sounded like he was on the subway. Let's go out to 805, California.
Hello?
You're on.
Hey, I got 4 things. I'll be real quick.
Okay.
First thing, Paul Hardcastle made a song named 19. Check that out. You can find that and then why he made it called 19. Second thing, I was in the Navy for 21 years. I didn't get married until I left and had kids after my period and all that. My husband died at exactly 19 years after he retired. Everybody had to know that, and he was 62 years old. And he was Navy in E7. And then all the other station went that made it to E6 or E7 died at 62 Navy.
Huh.
The other thing, actually there's 3 things. The other thing is check out Nation. That's where you find all about autophagy, Alzheimer's reversing, dementia reversing, lupus reversing, and it's 9 videos. And the first 3 or 4 are an hour and something, and then he does a question and answer. That, put it on a loop while you're driving, while you're writing your book. The Galen, Galen Foundation. And that's it. I enjoy the show, and check those things out.
All right, I'll check it all out. I appreciate the information drop. Thank you so much, and sorry for your loss.
That's all right. His girlfriend called me till he was dead. She thought he was still married. I mean, we were divorced and we weren't. But we're cool.
All right.
All right, you take care.
Yeah, you too. Have a good
Bye-bye.
night. All right, let's go to Memphis. Memphis, you're on. Memphis, 901. Probably went to sleep. Sorry, guys. They've been on hold for over 2 hours. Let's go out to 954, Florida.
Hey, Zach. Can you hear me?
I hear you. How you doing?
Good. Good to call in again. I called in last week. I was the Yale alumni.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to tell you some interesting stuff about what happened while I was there. I was actually not at the undergrad. I was at in med school, so I was right in the hospital right when all this stuff was starting. Around September 2019, I was on an internal medicine rotation with a visiting infectious disease professor from China, as well as Israeli Unit 8200, former Unit 8200, which, if you know what that is, it's the intelligence, it's like the NSA of Israel. And this was September 2019. They were both on my team. I was assigned to like this visiting Chinese guy because I was the med student at the time, and he needed someone to chaperone him around the hospital. And he was asking me all these really weird questions, like, is there anyone that in your group that you know is a part of the U.S. Army? I need to talk to him. I was like, why, are you part of the Chinese Army? And he literally had a panic attack and ran out of the room. I found this dude I swear, this is a true story. I found this dude in the closet crying. And I was like, I had to like get him out of the closet. I was like, what's going on? He just like, I need to talk to like whoever the guy in the U.S. Army is. I'm like, I don't know who that is, but I'll try to help you out. So that was that. And then obviously 1 month later, we get Event 201 with Diamond US there.
Huh.
I see Yale putting out all this disinformation, like they were claiming that like it was this not even as deadly as the flu, and that they were going to have a miracle vaccine ready. Obviously, I worked in an immunology lab for a long time. I have a pretty strong, big background in like the mRNA and the adenoviral vectors that they're using for these vaccines. I don't even call them that because it's true 1984. These are like extremely well described cardiovascular toxins that they're putting out. I mean, I know you don't know that, but it's just crazy to have witnessed it firsthand. And I wanted to be a doctor my whole life, but as soon as I saw what was going down, especially with the mandates and everything, I literally got the fuck out of it as fast as I can. But I just thought it was crazy that I had these intelligence assets from every country in the world, like as doctors at this hospital right when this shit was going down.
Sure. Yeah. Well, again, you're at a very special campus there, Yale. So.
I mean, special is one word for it. Yeah, intelligent hotbed is what it is.
Sure.
But yeah. Another thing that caller, the previously homeless guy, what an amazing call. That's really awesome to see how he was able to use Gematria to help his life. It's so great to hear stories like that. And I really hope that as we move forward, even more people can figure out what's going on, and we can, get back to a country that actually cares about each other, and we can get everyone off the streets. But the reason I thought it was interesting was because there's another person speaking out on TikTok. I don't have TikTok anymore. I got banned from it for speaking out about the vaccine, banned from everywhere pretty much. But she was talking about how she's from right outside Connecticut. I forget the exact, outside New Haven. I forget the exact town, but her dad was an AAU basketball coach. And she was going on TikTok telling her stories about how her family was deeply involved in Freemasonry and, had all these underage sex parties with the basketball players that she was forced to go to and all this stuff. So, I mean, unfortunately, this is how the world works. And, like, your friend, when the guy who called in, great guy, he got to see, like, just the edge of it and thankfully said no. But, in Back to the Future, when Biff had his sports book that helped him predict the future, they're not just these aren't just movies, guys. This is how they do it. They have blackmail on these people. It's sometimes even worse than blackmail. It's actual mind control, but that's how it works, and that's how they predict the future. It's all a scam. You live inside a giant scam. Obviously, I didn't vote today because it's all fake. And, the faster we wake up, more people, hopefully we can actually live in the real world. It'd be so fabulous to be able to live in a world where we actually get to make our own decisions.
Sure, and we're not being totally manipulated. Indeed. All right, friend. Well, I appreciate you speaking out and sharing that. Very interesting information again.
Yep.
And I look forward to the next call. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, you have a good night. All right, Michigan phone back in. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Zach, thanks. Great call tonight. That Cousin Mar, holy cow. I think I started listening to you on TFR here in 2015. And the first time I heard you, I didn't question it. I knew immediately you knew exactly what you were talking about. Just like my mentor, Dr. Wallach, he's 84 years old. All those issues that woman called in with the Navy husband who died at 62. Doc's been reversing all that stuff for 40 years, and all with nutrition. It's so simple. This guy who just called in who quit the med school, because of COVID and all that, the lies. It's just incredible. But he could be helping people with nutrition. I'm a blind nutritional health coach. I've been helping people like that for since 2015. Anyway, awesome call. I love that the fact that Cousin Mar got out of it because you opened him up. You opened his eyes to the what the hell was going on, and he didn't get down with the get down. I love it. That was awesome. Yeah. Okay, brother. You have a great night.
All right, friend. Thanks for staying up. You have a good night too.
Yep. Thanks.
Welcome. All right, let's go out to 949. You're on.
Hey, Zach, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear.
Hey, Zach, I appreciate you letting me on. I know there's only a couple minutes left, but Hey, shout out to everybody in the call today, all great callers. One thing I did notice that no one mentioned was the whole narrative around Herschel Walker. I don't know if you caught that earlier, Zach, about the Senate race in Georgia, about Herschel Walker and the Democratic candidate. I don't remember exactly his name, but as soon as I heard about that particular midterm election going to a runoff, I couldn't help but laugh.
Sure.
Knowing about Herschel Walker, running back, let's not forget he's a legend at Georgia, right?
Who's having another great season.
I've started to do... Sorry, go ahead.
Just who's having another great season, defending college football champions. Last year, Georgia wins. Then Matt Stafford, who played at Georgia. Georgia might be on their way back to the championship, which this year is in L.A., where Matt Stafford now is. And then, of course, Herschel Walker is front and center with politics.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. And now that it's called a runoff, if you just look it up in the news right now, the Georgia Senate race is headed for December 6th. Which is interesting because Georgia Senate in the simplest cipher equals 126.
Perfect.
Let's not forget that Georgia scored 33 points in the 2022 championship game. Herschel Walker was born on March 3rd, 3-3, right? And also, yesterday, the 8th, was the actual day of the midterms, and that was Herschel Walker's 251st day of his age. We know it's the 54th prime, but what's funny is that Georgia Bulldogs equals 251. Right. And so I've just been seeing a lot connecting with Herschel Walker, the runoff, him being a running back, him being a legend in Georgia, all of this coming down to Georgia. I also saw that when you measure actually from the championship game, January 10th of that championship game to yesterday, when the midterms actually started, is a span of exactly 303 days, like 303 or 33, going back to Georgia scoring 33 points, Herschel Walker being born on 3-3. And then also, if you use the Francis Bacon cipher, just using capital letters, Georgia runoff election equals 303. So all of those things I thought were really interesting, not to mention that election and football both equal 133 in the same cipher reverse.
Great research. Yeah, very interesting. So I'm going to take a deeper look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely something going on there with Herschel Walker and, all this BS with the midterm selections, as we know.
Sports and politics.
If I do have a chance, Zach, hey, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, sports and politics again. And look at the NBA took all their games off so people could vote on Tuesday. You guys were out of show. Lots of great calls tonight. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We'll be back next Wednesday, hopefully without any problems. All right. Before I sign off, True Seeker, again, if you got here late, we have a black screen because we had to shut down all the visuals to keep the stream going because the bandwidth is dead and the minimal visual helped the stream stay alive. But I did want to thank the super chatters. So I'm going to take a minute to say thank you to everyone who made a super chat. I appreciate that very much. And I just got to pull up the page here. Hold on. While I'm pulling up the page, I notice we have our resident favorite caller, DK Stonewood. What's up, DK?
What's up, man? Little problems with Skype tonight, or?
It's not Skype. It seems like it's OBS. Because OBS seems to be killing the bandwidth. So.
Gotcha. Because you're going over from one thing to another, right?
Yeah, it happened probably like 40 minutes into the show. Just the bandwidth kind of dropped way out. So.
Yeah, basically it ruined Rambo's time. That's what I noticed. And then maybe a caller or two after that, and then it got good.
Well, it got better, but it's been really low bandwidth the whole show. It's about 1/10 of what it normally is. It's normally around 3,000. Tonight it's hovering between like 200 and 600. So
I also noticed that the number of like people watching would go like from 200 something down to like 180, and like it was just jumping all over the place. Maybe people were trying to sign out. Maybe it was legit, and people were trying to like log off and come back on, thinking that there was some type of problem with their feed or something. But I was like, something is definitely going on tonight.
indeed.
I forgot to say something last week when we were talking about the frequencies and, you know, the health effects and stuff. And one of the main catchphrases that I forgot, which one of my friends has on his website for it, is Wi-Fi makes you fat. Literally, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and these more powerful frequencies that have a shorter distance. They do affect. They actually cause morphological changes to the insulin receptors, and it's like a phenomenon they call structural isomerism. So people who are overweight already and stuff, and, you know, trying to lose weight, all this stuff, you're talking about health. If you have, you know, you're using AirPods, or, you know, you got your phone hooked up Bluetooth in your car and all this stuff, you know, you're working like you're taking 2 steps back while trying to take 2 steps forward if you're trying to lose weight, as far as that's concerned. So, and then on top of it, causing all kinds of issues with the circadian rhythms and all that. So it doesn't let your body get into stage 4 sleep, and then you don't release growth hormone and all that, which, you know, growth hormone is the biggest, the main thing that'll make you lean. You know, you see when guys get on growth hormone, what happens, you know, they get so lean, and then they're, you know, look like you take too much of it. Like these bodybuilders, you end up start looking like Evander Holyfield. Your cheeks and, you know, your brow line, everything starts popping out. You start looking kind of like gorilla-ish because you got so much growth hormone. But that suppresses all that, suppresses melatonin, suppresses, you know, vitamin D probably being the most powerful antioxidant that exists for us. So, yeah, it just messes with us a lot, as far as, especially when you're, I mean, during the day, but especially like when you sleep too, you got to turn all the Wi-Fi off in your house. Don't have your phone or anything, any wireless device. They recommend you don't even have anything plugged in your room. No, like, electrical devices at all, anywhere where you're sleeping. If you're sleeping on one of these coil mattresses, that's basically an antenna farm. You know, you should put foil all under your mattress, like between your bed frame and your mattress, to at least absorb some of the frequencies that'll be picked up by your mattress antenna farm, and basically radiate you the whole entire you know, night while you sleep. I think that's all I'll say on that. I was trying to call in the other day. It was like during a day stream, you were talking about sports, and you know I never call in and talk about sports, but I was just trying to call in on that because I had to call bullshit. Whoever was claiming they lost 40 grand or 10 grand or something on a bet, bullshit. Show us the ticket. Which one? It's hard to get people to donate $1 or $5. People now, all of a sudden, people are betting 40 grand. Get the fuck out of here. Let me see your sportsbook ticket photo of that one. My thoughts are people are very conservative, just as you like advise, and those are all just trolls wasting your time.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, get the fuck out of here. Betting 40 grand? I mean, what kind of winnings are we talking about if you're betting 40 grand, or you're just a new person and then just, oh, this work is so great, I'm just going to put 40 grand and then lose and then complain? Come on. There's just no way. And then as far as that story, Cousin Mar, was he the one that was holding the camera when you were in New York, like a big guy with kind of like dreads, like shorter dreads? Was that him?
So I forget he didn't have shorter dreads. He was the tallest guy there. I forget what cartoon characters he had on. The day before September 11th, he was out there. He had a black shirt on, and it had little cartoon characters all over it, and I forget what the name of the cartoon is.
Was he wearing like shorts and slide like the slides you wear after you stop playing, take your shoes off, you put the slides on?
I can't remember his whole outfit. I remember the shirt he had on, so.
Yeah, okay, so that's the guy. Yeah, I also played similar to that, but I wasn't like ranked or anything, and neither really was anybody on my team. The Cotton brothers played with us. They were heavily recruited. They let the younger brother play in the Nike All-American, high school game, which they invite. It's all invite only, and it's all seniors. It's a senior camp, and it's like the kind of like the brother or sister to the McDonald's one, and they allowed him in there in 10th grade. But yeah, we were sponsored by Reebok and LA Gear. I don't know if you remember LA Gear.
Yeah.
So they would like pay for. I mean, they pay for everything, but it's just like you get like Reebok shoes or LA Gear shoes, and then the uniforms, and then like they maybe like would pay for our trips. But then meeting other people, and then later after that stuff was all done, meeting others through playing, just like playing ball around town, going to the spots in LA where like ex-NBA players and college players and NBA players during the summer go play and stuff. And then, you just meet people and you talk, and then you end up playing on, I ended up playing on other, like, just men's league game teams and stuff like that with them. And my one friend, he played AAU. He's from Bronx. He lived, like, around the corner from Lamar Odom, and he basically told me very similar stories about, like, that. Like, the guy was so physically gifted. Lamar, if he ever actually practiced, he would just be better than anybody. But he said, like, he just never even practiced, even as kids. They would all be, he'd play at the park a little bit, but nothing like these other guys who were, they were the version of gym rats, but out on the, out in the cold on the busted up, blacktop courts out in New York. And said, yeah, some of these guys that were just, they were paying for their families, like, their mortgage or their rent, like for their whole family, and they're buying their food and shit. It was just like, it was to that extent. Now, whether they already knew they were going to the NBA later, or, they kind of have them ready, like grooming them. I don't really know, but yeah, that stuff definitely, I've heard stories very similar to exactly what he said, way back then, 15 years ago. So when we were all coming up playing this stuff, and I was like, wow, how do they, they're so poor, and then like, then you're like, how are they flying to Florida with us? I don't get it. Who's paying for their shit? Like, you could see their parents ain't paying for it because they got to come over to like our house and spend the night, like the day before, a tournament we're going to. So, because nobody could come, drop them off. So, I mean, it's like, then you realize, oh, okay, they were probably being funded from the back end. Somebody was paying for that, all that, like. How are, you could understand with some of these families and money how they could afford to go to Florida for like a 4-day tournament, but how would you do that for like a 14, 15-year-old kid unless, the parents are paying for it? Like, who's paying for it? But yeah, so that was very, that story is what that he was telling is right on point, and who knows what else is really going on with these kids, like, who are, like he's mentioned, like Rod Strickland's nephew. We had George Gervin, one of the guys who played against was like George Gervin's grandson or something, Caleb Gervin. The guy was awesome. I got to say, probably one of the best guys I've ever played against. NBA. I never made the NBA or anything. I played against guys that did make the NBA, and this guy was still way better than him. Maybe him and Jabari Anderson are probably the best guys I ever played against, like in person, that never made it anywhere. And I was thinking at the time when I was playing against him, like, this guy's gonna be awesome in the NBA. Anyway, I don't have any of my notes. I'm not at home. I was just kind of listening to the show tonight. Figured I'd just call in, put my 2 cents in on that.
Well, I appreciate it as always, DK. Thanks, man.
You know what else? What was going on with that? The one in New York, the governor in New York, the one that's in there, the one that's going to lose, I guess, Lake. And then they have all the lake problem over there in Arizona and Nevada border. The lake's all going dry. I don't know if that was just a coinky dink or whatever, but I thought as soon as I heard that, I'm like, that's funny that her name is Lake for Arizona, when if you go on YouTube and look at like Lake Mead and all the lakes that feed each other right there, Lake Havasu and all that are going dry right now.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah, you don't get like seems like you don't get like enough daylight in your eyes, and then it makes you feel more tired. Like that feels like it's my recharge, you know, like having the sun come through your eyes like recharges you. And then like, you know, they mess with the way the day is. You end up being inside or doing something you can't, you know, and then there's less sunlight anyway. So, you know, hence why everybody gets sick, or, you know, a higher percentage of people get sick in the winter, and we call it flu season.
Indeed. Yeah. Appreciate it, DK.
I'll talk to you next week or sooner.
All right, man.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Take care. All right. Yeah, here, let me read off these super chats, and we will call it a night. Frank the Truth Tank chipped in $2 and said, nothing but facts on this channel, 100%. I appreciate it. Anu444 said, appreciate all your hard work, Zach. Thank you. I appreciate your support. Yeah, right. The Matrix chipped in $20 and said, peace and love, everyone. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate that. Eric Meller chipped in $5 and said, Republicans win the House with 222 seats, giving us a little order out of chaos. Indeed, and what a number for 2022. Cuts1 chipped in $5, said, much love, everyone, from Animus and I. You know what was really cool is I saw tonight, yeah, right, or actually, no, it wasn't yeah, right. It was Fake Mike Real News and RPM Trey were doing a live stream together, and they got to meet each other for the first time in Oklahoma City. And then I saw Cuts and a really nice lady named Alyssa, who both of them came out to New York, and they're both from California. They linked up, and they're in the Bay Area doing a little research at the Google campus, because, again, we got to get down there and make a statement about how wrong their censorship is. So I'm guessing she's going by the name Animus. He said, much love, everyone, from Animus and I. And again, she was out there when we were pounding pavement at Yale. Had a lot of really great observations. Sammy Torrey chipped in $5. Thank you very much, Sammy. And Chase said, congrats to the winners. 112. Appreciate that. Thank you, Chase. Sage Zero said, what's a SANF? It stands for sorry ass. And I'll let you guess what the MF is. GV2 says, or GV2 chipped in $10 and says, love all your commitment. I live in Tacoma, Washington, and would love to meet you next time you come to Seattle. I will be back to Seattle, absolutely, and we will meet next time. Alan A chipped in $5 and didn't say anything, but I appreciate the support. Snake Eater 75 chipped in $20 and also did not say anything, but thank you very much for the support. Atanchi Decodes, who's always got a sports observation, chipped in $10 and said, Nets become 113 and 81 since Kobe died. Knicks become 678 and 1,013 since 9/11. Kobe Bryant equals 678, 113, and 81. Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. And don't forget, from the day that Michael Jordan retired to the day that Kobe, or I should say played his last game, Michael Jordan played his last game in Philly, which is Kobe's hometown. From Jordan's last game to Kobe's last game was exactly 678 weeks apart. Both Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant equal 113 in the most simple cipher. Sumerian gematria is just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6, so both of their names become 678. And then, yeah, right, the Matrix even chipped in $10 more. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you, yeah, right. And Math2Con chipped in $2. And you guys, if you're not subscribed to Math2Con, he does have his own YouTube channel. And he's doing a bunch of nice little short decodes. And as far as I can tell, he's going down memory lane and trying to hit a lot of the best gematria examples that are out there. So he's doing a great job, so make sure you support him. And yes, I did title the book Numbers and Letters with the gematria in mind. Of course, on page 29 of Letters and Numbers, which is my first book that's very big, I do say that it does appear that the Jesuits are the tip of the spear. So we raised $88.97 during the stream. I appreciate it, you guys. And hold on. The young guy in Florida is trying to get in one last call. Let me call him back, and he can close us out tonight. Truth does not exist whenever he picks up the phone. Well, he picked up and then he hung up. Weird. He'll probably call back in a second. He's all right, here he is. He's got something to say before we sign off. All right, what's up, man?
Hello?
Yeah, what's going on?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, okay, I can hear you. Yeah, sorry. You won't believe what I just heard when I turned on the television. I put on the TV, to hear about the hurricane. And God, I wish so badly that I recorded it, but I didn't see it coming. He said that after the hurricane, that our weather would go back to regularly scheduled programming.
Huh. Yeah.
But I wanted to say, because I haven't really ever bet on the sports because, I don't understand the sports talk, like, at all. Whenever you talk about sports and, like, what the players did, like, it's like a completely different language to me. I don't know any of the stuff that you're saying. And it's too bad that these idiots, they bet like however many thousands of dollars. It's like, dude, you said like 1,000 times, don't bet more than you're willing to lose because, you don't know for sure that the play is going to go through, And these idiots do it anyway, and then they blame you. So I wouldn't feel bad for them. They're idiots. They're not even taking your advice because you didn't tell them to do that. I would like to, someone that just says, like, hey, this team's probably going to win or whatever. I'd like to do that. But, I mean, I haven't really looked at the sports that much. I just do the Patreon. I don't really check it. But, yeah, I gotta, because I didn't get to finish my thought earlier. I'm going to close that out. I'm going to finish with that. So, what's funny is that because you were talking about earlier about the cars, how you were talking about how they're trying to switch the cars to electric, and they say that it's for the carbon dioxide, and that stuff's complete bullshit because like I can prove that the carbon dioxide is bullshit because, like, for instance, I've been in the back of the post office before, and if you've ever been in the back of the post office, you'll see like pallets full of junk mail. And this stuff just gets thrown away. They literally have to cut down trees for this, and nobody's talking about how much resources are going into like literal trash, And like, they have to cut down that forest for meat. Oh, the cow's farting, whatever. They're talking about all that bullshit, but they're not talking about that. And then you're like, what else? all the crap that we get from China, all the trash, that stuff is all garbage. Like, everything in my house has like been replaced by something that's ancient. My fucking wireless headphones are 30 years old because all the ones that from the past 10 years are all broken. 30 fucking year old wireless headphones still working. Everything that I have is vintage, works, and like even the simplest thing that you think somebody would never be able to get wrong, these stupid people get wrong, and I have to throw it away. I bought a meat grinder, and it was just a piece of metal. It wasn't even like, there wasn't even any moving parts. And the thing, like, I guess it was made of aluminum, and it oxidized, and it was full of powder the next day. Like, it's all trash, And how much resources are they putting into making all this garbage that doesn't work, that's one-time use that gets thrown away, They're not talking about that. They're not talking about making laws for, hey, if it's one-time use Chinese trash, hey, we're not going to allow that here, And also, like with all the supposed shootings in the schools, they only report on it because it's a part of the agenda, What about all the bomb threats? My school had a bomb threat like a week after I left. They found the bomb, and that didn't make it past like the newspaper, which nobody even reads anymore, My girlfriend's school just had a bomb threat. They don't talk about that. Why? Because bombs aren't legal. So, they're not going to tell you about that, which happens all the time. statistically, these shootings basically never happen. You're probably more likely to get struck by lightning than die in a shooting, but they're not going to tell you that, It just so happens that guns are the things that we can use to take down all these assholes that are in power,
Sure.
But that's pretty much it for my thoughts. I just wanted to ask you one thing. If after the stream, can you call me back? Because I'm kind of having a little bit of a medical problem. And if your girlfriend's still up, I'd like to ask her a question. Because, it's just, I kind of want to get rid of it before I go on the trip.
Well, she's right here next to me sleeping.
Oh, she's sleeping? Oh, okay. Can I call tomorrow or something? Because,
when I talk to her in the morning, why don't you text me after you get off what your problem is, and I'll ask her in the morning, and then I'll call you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, text me what's going on.
Okay, awesome. I'll text you right now.
All right. Feel better, buddy. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, see you. All right, Truth Seekers. I think that's it for tonight. And, I do get a normal internet connection this Friday, so hopefully that makes things better, but... Oh, and congrats, Animus D. Now that I know exactly who you are, you definitely deserve a wrench. And for all the people out there that don't have a wrench, I give almost everybody on the channel a wrench. You guys, also, if you do have wrenches, mostly the reason I give wrenches is so you guys can share information and links. Try not to ban people as quickly as some people are. I got the longest... we'll save it for later, but... Yeah, I think some people are getting banned too quickly. And, make sure, you only ban somebody if they're an absolute troll or one of these porn spam bots. But, if somebody wants to, say something that's a little bit different, that doesn't mean they need to be banned right away. So, anyhow, we'll leave it there for tonight. And I agree, Gematria 32. 2023 should be quite the year. So, we know about the old 223. Oh, Northern Risen, yeah. You can have a wrench too. I definitely recognize you from many other channels. All right, guys. But we'll leave it there for tonight. I got a long day tomorrow. I got a whole bunch of errands to do. And I got to go sign on the dotted line because my house officially is sold. But I just have to fill out the last of the paperwork and run a few other errands. And for all the people in the sports community, congrats. It looks like it was another good night in the NBA. This knowledge, it does pay. I don't want to turn you guys all into gambling addicts, but hey, if you buy lottery tickets, give up that hobby and start using Gematria to take advantage of these rigged sports games. All right, True Seeker. Have a good night. And until next time.